So, hi students, we will start the class. So in yesterday's class we have discussed about creating a key pair and creating an instance and security groups. Now we will discuss about the instance features, so like instance pricing and instance types, and as well as with the instance specifications. So first, if we go to the instances tab under EC2, if you want to create an instance, we are clicking the launch instance button and selecting an operating system, and then we are going ahead with the T2 micro general purpose instance, which is free tier eligible. But you can see that we have a lot of bunch of options here. You can see that we have virtual CPU section, we have memory section, we have instance storage section, and as well as we have EBS and as well as network performance section. So we'll discuss, like we can see here, I'm scrolling down, so you can see that C3 large, C3X large and C3 2X large. And if you can see that, we can see here like R3 large, R3X large and R3 2X large, 4X large, and as well as with the 8X large. So we have another like D2X large, D2 2X large. So we'll try to discuss each of them individually, so what they are into and how they have classified it, and what basis of the classification is done from the AWS. Now we'll go to the PPT. Here you can see we have basically three types of instance pricing over there. One is on-demand instances, and one is reserved, and the other one is the spot instances. So we'll try to discuss each one so that you can understand what is the difference between those three. So first we'll discuss with the on-demand instance. So on-demand means, as the name itself suggests, that on demand. So when you need, you will launch or provision your instances, so that based on it will be built based on hours. So how many hours you run, so you need to pay for the respective hours. So let's say if you run 10 hours a day, then you will only build for the 10 hours. Let's say think like 0.01 penny hours per an EC2 instance, let's say. So if you run for 10 hours, then it will be like 0. It will be 0.1 cents per the 10 hours. So like the same thing, if you run for the 10 days, so you'll have $1 per 10 days. So in those 10 days, you will run your instance for 10 hours. So this is how the pricing will be done in on-demand instance. So this is basically a simple one. So how many hours you run, based on that it will be calculated. And also there is a different specifications. You can see that in the instance types, as you see here, while launching an instance. So we are selecting, let's say we'll select Red Hat now here, and you can see that we have different types like T2 nano, T2 micro, T2 small, and so these are all the things. So every type has a specific pricing model. So if you take an M4 4x large, which has a 16 cores of CPU and 64 GB of RAM, so this has the IO performance as well as network performance. So it is EBS optimized, and as well as the network performance is in high. If you take M4 10x large, you can see that it has a 40 cores of CPU and 160 gigs of RAM, and also you can see that the network performance is up to 10 gigabyte. So you can basically 10 gigabyte per second. So if you have a database kind of a thing where you need highly reads and writes going through the database from your application to database and database to your applications, so a lot of you have an application or the website is very busy and getting a lot of requests, readings and writing to and from the database. So you need, basically what you need is you need a high network performance. So there's, you can go with high network performance, or maybe a network which has up to 10 gigs per second. So this is how. So each pricing model is different for a type of the instance. So if you're taking a small instance where we have only 2 cores of CPU or 3.75 GB of RAM, then it will be a low cost. When you take like T2 models like T2 Nano, this is the lowest instance which has one core CPU and just 500 MB RAM. So which has the lowest cost at this point of time. This is the lowest model of the instance type which is available at the Amazon Web Services at this point of time. So why I'm telling at this point of time, because so it has introduced last, I think, 2 months ago. So previously it was T2 micro. So this is the lowest model we have, but recently they have introduced this T2 nano. So now at this point of time, this is the lowest model of the instance type, wherein you might not know that even AWS will come up with a lowest model than this. So who knows, like this. So I don't think you will not get very smaller than this, like 1 core CPU and 500 MB RAM. So lesser than that, no one will able to basically launch an instance or create an instance, anyone. So if you can see the large instances, you can see here. So i2 x large and all. Even if you go for, I'll just go for aws.amazon.com/console. Just going through it. I'm searching for something. Yes, you can see that new X1 instance or largest memory optimized instances, so which is newly introduced. If you click on here, you just click on here, you can come down, so you can see the instance features. So you can see that the X1 32X, this is the instance they have created, they have introduced, and it has 128 cores of CPU, and you can see that it's almost 2 TB of RAM. So we might see that 100 GB or 200 GB of RAM, but some applications wherein if you use for Hadoop, big data analysis, or maybe HPC, highly power computing services. So means if you need a very good hardware specifications of a server where your application requires, or maybe your website requires. So that even further also you can see that we have an AWS is providing a server with 128 cores of CPU and 2 TB of RAM, and also the network speed is, as we sold here, you can get it 10 gigabytes per second, as well as the EBS bandwidth means the uh, traffic flowing between the hard disks which we are creating. Like in Windows, while in, while provisioning the instance, we have 30 GB of space. Where in Linux, we are having the root partition of a 8 GB. So that's called the hard disk of a partition. That's called the EBS. So we'll have a separate session for the EBS. That's called the elastic block storage. So we'll discuss at the time this EBS features and pricing and all those things when we came to the ABS model, ABS session. So at this point of time, think like ABS is a hard disk. So in that hard disk, you have some partitions like C drive. If you take Windows, you have C drive, D drive, E drive, something like this. The same way, EBS is a hard disk, a virtual hard disk, which is attached to the instance which we will create. So this is a new instance. This is newly launched, newly introduced by the AWS. If you go to the home page again, you can see, if you try to go here, and you can see Amazon ABS. As I told you, ABS is a hot disk, introduces two new low cost high throughput HDD volume types. This is also again they have introduced newly, so you will not be find in the PPTs which I prepared. So this is actually uh, newly launched, so I haven't added because it's very newly launched. So but you can see it from the things. It's very new and it's very low cost, and as well as it has a high throughput. Throughput means basically the reads and writes between devices, mean the hard disk from and to the hard disks. So this is what, so these are all the two new services which has AWS has introduced. So that's why I'm telling you. So they are, AWS has keep on introducing the new features, new services, new applications. It might be a SaaS application, it might be a PaaS application, it might be infrastructure as a service application. So they might be adding the different applications. If you can see here, we have if you can take the services list is like this. So you can see here we have a, these are the services which is available at this point of time. Some things like you can see elastic file system is there in a previous, so it's in the preview, so it's not at live. You can say it as it's in the testing, like or development phase. So when it completed the testing or the development phase, it will be like normal where you have this electric transcoder, elastic case, something like that. You can see everything when you can see. That's how. So the same way they will try to add the new features to it and the new technologies which were there in the today's market. So that's how they will do, introduce the all the services or applications or the products. So you need to make sure that you need to update yourself with the Amazon Web Services. So we'll try to discuss now, as we are discussing with the instance pricing model. So how basically we can see what is the pricing model. So how much the pricing. So there is an application called AWS Calculator. You just search with AWS Calculator if you can open it. So this is provided by Amazon itself, Amazon Web Services, and you can say you have the option in the left hand. You can say Amazon EC2 here, S3 here, Route 53. So these are all the different services we have. So let's say if your manager came to you, or maybe if your team leader, or maybe your MD or someone, excuse me, your manager or maybe any team leader, your supervisor came to you and asked, we want to create some 5 servers or maybe a 10 bunch of servers, and we want to host some applications on it. So how much will be the bill? So how much we need to pay for AWS? Can you tell me? Can you calculate and give me in a code for this? How much we need to pay? So how many servers we need? Do we need 10 servers? So if you want to reduce to 5 servers, so what is the cost for it? So they might ask about this, all the billing sections kind of a thing, so how much it will be and all. So in that case, where you need to find for the particular instances, or might be a particular service itself. So what you need to do is you can select your region here. You can select your region here. Let's say we are going with Singapore region. Let's say we are Singapore, so we are from India, so we might choose the our lowest latency region at this point of time. It is Singapore. So at this end of the year, as I told you, we'll have a India session coming. So then you click on the, if you have a EC2 instance, we'll say then click on add new role. You can add some descriptions. You don't want, no need to. So instances, how many instances basically you want? Let's say you want a one instance and 100% utilizations, and you can, here you can see here the gear symbol is there. Just to click on the gear symbol which has the type. So if you just click on the gear symbol here, so you can see the operating system: Windows Standard SQL Server, Standard and Web SQL Server, Windows Enterprise SQL Server, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux. So all the operating system which were there in here, if you just click on previous, you can see these are all the different operating system which is available here, and the same thing, those are the available here as well. So you can select, let's say I want to select a Windows Enterprise SQL Server, and you can see in the drop down you have the different types. You can see here. So these are all the different. So basically you need to make sure uh, how much storage or how much RAM or how much cores of CPU you need for your application. So you may check with your development team, or maybe the team who is responsible for designing the application, or maybe designing the website. So you need to make sure that how much traffic you're expecting from them, from the server. So what we need to do is, based on that you will have some idea. So it might not be the exact same. So if it is not met also in AWS, it's fine. So we'll discuss meta, what is this T2, M4 and C4. We'll discuss in the next section. We are only now talking only of the pricing model. So once we complete this pricing model, we'll see what is this T2 model and all. Just keep up to date with me, just so that you can understand all the things. So let's say if I want to a T2 large section, T2 large instance, wherein I want to have some 2 cores of CPU or 8 GB of RAM, or else if you want to go for a better, let's say if you want to select some like this. So you can also see show some advanced options as well. So if you can also select like this, so you can hide as well. And you can say you don't want like this, then you can select like Red Hat Enterprise like this if you want. So what are the instance you want to select? Basically it's okay, I want to select M4 large, so you can select, and then you can select close and save once you have selected. So we have selected M4 large instance which has 2 cores of CPU and 8 GB of RAM. And you can see normally on demand instance hourly cost is, you can see here, like it has $0.238 per hour. So if you close and save, and billing option. So we'll discuss all these things billing in the coming section. Now at this point of time we are only talking about the on demand. Now you can see that the monthly cost is $174.22 per monthly. So if you take in a one instance which has a Red Hat Linux and Enterprise Linux, and which has a M4 large, so if you change the operating system, let's say from Red Hat Enterprise Linux to normal Linux, and if you just close, and you can see that $174 become to $130, wherein here you can see that wherein Red Hat Enterprise Linux is same like Windows, it's commercial, it's not for free. Wherein normal Linux, it's provided by Amazon, it's free. So operating system is free, it's like a open source. Wherein if you're not changing any specifications, like we are using still the M4 large, but we are saving the $40 per the license model, wherein Red Linux is around $174, wherein you can see that normal is $130. Where if you can see that Windows same like, so if you take Windows Web, if you just close and save, and you can see that $218 for the Windows Web SQL Server Edition. If you take another server, simply if you take a Windows, it's not working, so let's go with normal Windows, base Windows, and you can see the M4 large, it's around, again it's changed to $222.53. So this is how basically you can calculate your billing based on your how many servers you want to use and in which region you want to use and what is the specifications you want to use it. So this is how you can basically see it. So basically the on-demand pricing is, you can see here, on demand let you pay for compute capacity by the hour with no long-term commitments. Means no long-term means you don't need to have any long-term commitments with AWS saying that I need to use for 1 year or maybe 3 years, something like that. So you'll use for some certain days. So if you think that I don't want this server, then you can directly terminate your server like this. So that's called the on-demand instance. When you need, you will create. When you don't need, you will terminate. That's what the on-demand instance. So this frees you from the cost and complexities of planning, purchasing and maintaining hardware and transform what are commonly large fixed cost into smaller variable cost. So if you can see this link, there is also, if you can just copy this link and open this link, if you can see the whole model of the EC2 pricing. Okay, you can see here. Okay, if you want to select a region, let's say we'll go with Sydney now, or maybe we'll go with US West Oregon region. And now you can see that a T2 Nano is, you can see that it has 0.0065 per hour. If you go down, you can see that, so it's everything will be listed here. Like you can see that it's in the M model, and you can see the compute optimized model. You can see here C4 large and C4X large, C4 2X large, so all will be like 105 cents per hour, 209 cents per hour, 419 cents per hour. So this is how basically it will. So you can see that GPU model. So these are all the different models of instances which were available at Amazon Web Services, and you can see all these strings. So this is how basically you can find it. So you can also, we have different models. So if you select, let's say Windows with SQL Enterprise, if you just click on here, you can see that. Okay, on Oregon we have R32X large, and it has $5 and 495 cents per hour. So basically you see, if you just go up and if you select, if you see Windows with SQL Enterprise, we only have the 3 options. In US West Oregon, we have R32X Cloud, R3, only R3 instances, like starting with R3 model. These only available. If you were to take it in Windows with SQL Standard, you can say it start. So it has a bunch of options there. So it has M4, M3, C4, and all. So it is also based on which type of instance you are selecting, and for that instance type, means instance, it might be a Windows or Linux or Red Hat or SUSE. So whatever you are selecting, so based on that, whatever is available with the particular operating system which you are selecting, so whatever is there you can select. So that's for the normally, these are all the, you can see that it's are all on-demand instance typing, instance pricing. Sorry, you can see that what it will do is it will let you pay for the compute capacity by the hour with no long-term commitments. Means you don't need to commit AWS that I will use it for maybe 1 year or 3 years, something like that. You just create, use it for whenever you need, and you can terminate whenever you don't need it. So this frees, as we tell, this frees you from the cost and complexity of your planning of your application, or maybe purchasing from. In the first introduction class, we have seen some guy who wants to do some business starting with like Snapdeal or Amazon maybe or Flipkart. So what he need to do, he need to, in that example we see that he will need to go to the IT shop and then purchase and wait for the purchase to come, and means the hardware to be shipped to his office or maybe in his home, and then he needs to install the operating system and all. Wherein this will frees you from purchasing those instances, and you need to purchase a server. You know, it's not like here we can, let's say if you need a server for 10 hours, then we can only it's up to Himmat is asking about before terminating the instance, do we need to take the backup? So if we have the data which is need to take the backup, then we need to take the backup. So if we have the data that we don't need to take care of it, or maybe it's a temporary storage, so we are not much about worrying about the data, then you can basically no need to take the backup. But if you have a data very crucial, you need to take the backup, means you need to take the backup and then you need to terminate it. So it's like terminating the instance means like deleting a folder from your Windows instance or maybe laptop. So what will happen if you delete? It will be deleted. So before deleting, you have some data, so you will think, right, like if it is not if it is a if it has some data which is not required, then you directly delete it. So if you have some data which is required, then what you need to do, you'll copy it to somewhere, a thumb drive, maybe a pen drive, or upload it to some cloud storage, then you will delete that particular folder. The same way in here also, there is nothing different. So if you have the data, then you need to. Okay, thanks Himmat. So this frees you from the cost and complexity of Azure, the planning of your application, how many servers you need, and purchasing, and as well as Mridul, if we delete the server, what are the data which is in the server will be deleted. So if you recreate another server, a fresh server will come. So we'll discuss in the AMI section in this class today. So at that time you can understand what is actually when you launch an instance, so what will we come up with when you create an instance. So also when you delete an instance, what will do it. So basically, so it will be free from the complexity as we are talking about planning and purchasing, and well as maintaining hardware, like as you told, like in if you are creating or maintaining your servers in-house, means in organization, so you need to maintain the hardware, like you might heard of RAID, uh, redundant array of inexpensive disks, wherein you need to, so you don't know when a hard disk might fail, something like this, so you need to take care of all these things. And also transforms what are commonly large fixed costs, so wherein if you use it, it will be pay for one time if you buy from the IT shop. So wherein if you use it for here Amazon Web Services, you don't need to pay for whole amount, you just only pay for what you are using based on the hourly charge. So wherein that causes a smaller variable cost. So this is got the on-demand instances. So we'll try to see the next one is we have another two options wherein reserved instances and all spot instances. So we'll first discuss the spot instances. So you can, by seeing the definition, you can understand that spot instances enable you to bid for unused Amazon EC2 capacity. So you can see that unused Amazon EC2 capacity. So in the cloud computing features, we have discussed that Amazon cloud computing providers resource pooling. We have discussed about the resource pooling at this point. So what they will do is they will pool their resources into, they'll pool, let's think like these are all the different hardware. So they will pool their resources into the regions or the availability zones or the data centers. So from there, users will come and pick their, means users will sign up and pick their servers, create their servers. So you can see here, these are all the servers. Let's say 3 servers is used by this guy and 3 servers is used by this guy, and you can say, let's say 5 servers is used by this guy, and let's say okay, another 5 servers is used by and this guy. So these are all the 4 customers who signed up for AWS in a region. Let's say think like this is a Singapore region, where AWS has pooled their resources, means hardware devices like RAM, CPU, hard disks and all. So 5 used by this guy, and 3 used by this guy, and 3 used by this guy, and again this guy using the, excuse me, this guy using the 5 source. So you can see that we have used, but still we have another like 1 2 3 4 7, I'm telling like let's say another 15 servers were there. So wherein you can create another up to 15 servers in the in that maybe let's say data center or region. So it will not be like only this what we are talking about, only 3 or 5 servers. So for an example, I'm telling that it might have some 3 servers for an instance, but where you can take in the real time customers having like 50 servers, some has 100 servers, some has 1,000 servers in AWS. So based on their application requires our website requirement, so based on that they will purchase or create the instances. So let's think like we have a remaining 15 instances. So at this point of time we have only 4 clients with the 4 customers. Those are using 3355, means almost 16 servers are they are using, and remaining 15 were there. So those are in ideal state, so no one is using. So what Amazon came up with an intelligent decision saying that, so why we need to use this idle instances or the idle resources, why we need to put this into the idle stage? So why can't we make from even from this idle resources as well? So that's where they came up with a instance pricing called a spot instances. So you can see the definition by, you can understand like spot instance enable you to bid for unused Amazon EC2 capacity. As we are in the example, we are seeing that we have 15 servers were left and free, where we can use it for those are in the idle, you can use it. So what you need to do is you need to bid. Basically you need to bid means like how we basically bid in the in day-to-day basis, in the day-to-day life, how we will bid for the some amount, or we will bid for some in quicker you can see that we'll bid for some other devices, the gadgets and also we'll bid for it. The same way you need to bid for the Amazon EC2 capacity. So what you need to, let's say think like normally a T2 micro instance cost is let's say 10 cents per an hour. So you can bid to the Amazon saying that I can only pay for 5 cents an hour, can you give it? So if no one is there, so no one is using, it's still in idle state, so AWS can give you for only 5 cents. So that's what this spot instances is. So enable you to bid for the unused Amazon EC2 capacity. So instances are charged the spot price, which is set by the Amazon EC2 and fluctuates periodically depending on the supply of and demand for spot instances capacity. So what is mean by, we'll try to explain in a example. So you can say anyone can bid basically. So we'll try to say with the 4 guys. So let's say 5 guys. So this guy is using 5, this guy is using 5, and this guy is using 3, this guy is using 3, and this guy just signed up for AWS. So this guy is just signed up, but wherein the first 4 guys we'll discuss, guys, just hold on with me so that you can understand. Nasima, just wait so that you can understand what is the price and all. You can that is what I'm telling you, try to explain you. So you can see that these are all using, so these are all using the on-demand instances. Let's say think like, so the guys you are using, think like those are all on demand. Let's say think like OD means here on demand. So all these services are on demand. Let's say in the particular Singapore region we have another 15 servers. So this guy needs another like maybe 2 servers. So but you don't want to go with on demand, wherein he can bid for it. So you can, let's say think like the on demand instance for this particular 15 let's say T2 micro. So we'll discuss what is this in the next session, sorry, in the next coming section. So let's say as I told, it's 10 cents per an hour. So I'm just giving an example, so it might not be the exact for the T2 micro, so I'm just telling for an example 10 cents per an hour. But this guy came and saying I need 2 instances to the AWS. He will say to AWS that I need 2 instances, but I will only pay for 5 cents per an hour. So try to clean here. So you say 5 cents per an hour. So I don't want to pay for it. Will you give it? So you bid to the AWS saying that will you give it? So I need 2 instances. So okay, that's fine. AWS has given him the 2 instances for just only 0.5 cents per an hour. This is called the spot instance. So now let's say another guy came and he wants let's say 10 servers. So but we have at this point of time the unused capacity is 15 servers, and in the 15 servers we have 2 are the spot instances. Let's say this guy come and ask for the 10. So okay, these are into same on demand, so easy. AWS has given the 10 instances. Now we have only 5 instances. Under those 5 we have only 2 instances per the spot, which is given to the some guy the newly signed up. Let's say another guy came after some days and he wants for the 5 instances, let's say. So here we have only 5 instances, but and those 2 already given to the some guy who bid for it. But a guy come and ask for the same on-demand instances, let's say. He's asking for the on-demand instances, but we have only 3 instances. So at this point of time, what it will do is, it will take the spot instances, whatever is assigned to this guy, and it will give it back you to this guy because it's an on-demand. So what it means, if you have the capacity available, you can use it the spot instances. But if the capacity is decreasing, so AWS doesn't have much capacity to use it for the bidding purpose for the spot instances, then at any point of time, one second, I have a question. Yes, Rahul, you're right. Unused instances. So here what it will do is, we have only 3 instances, so 3 plus, and it will take the bid instances this guy bid, and he will terminate from here, and without notifying him, he will directly take it and give it to the guy. So what we are doing, he is getting the low price just for 5 cents an hour, but this guy, as we bid, so we will not, as a customers, will not know that when AWS will take the resources from you. If you are in an on-demand instance or on-demand model, pricing model, AWS will not take the instances from you. Wherein if you are using the spot instance model, then it will take any point of time when AWS is lacking the resources. So we are seeing a lacking resources model. So we'll try to see another model. So let's say same 15 servers were there. So same guy, we'll see 3 to 4 guys. So let's say we'll try to see 5, the same model, 3. So we have another 15 servers were left. So that's what it. And let's say another guy, the newly signed up guys came and he bid for 2 instances in the same like 0.5 cents per hour. So this is what he bid, and AWS has given to him the 2 instances in the spot pricing model. And let's say, so another new customer came with 10 instances, it will give it to you. So we have only 5 instances. So now another guy came here, so he don't want to use the on-demand instances, but he want to do the same spot pricing. This spot pricing model is PM. So what he wants to use, he needs another, let's say 4 servers. So he needs 4 servers, and let's say for the 4 servers T2 micro, let's say T2 micro, he wants to give it 0.7 cents per an hour, let's say 0.7 cents per an hour. So wherein we have in the remaining 5, we have only 3 available, and 2 is at the bidded for another user. So but he is the another guy who came, he needs 4 instances, which he is paying more than the guy who is already bid for it. So at this point of time, so what it will do is, so he will remove 1 server from his guy who bid the spot instances, and given back to this user to the 4 instances, because he is paying more than what this guy is paying. So at the end is, what is the moral story here? You can try to see that spot instances works like this. So we cannot allocate Rahul, so we will not do that. So we will not do it. AWS will take care of all those things. So allocating all those things. So what it will do is, he will terminate the instance from the another user, means all the data will be lost, and he will given back to the storage, CPU, and the RAM to the another user. It's not like he will take a server from you and give one back to you. It's not like if you think like taking a server from you and giving it to you. So if does that, that means they will have the data of yours. It's not like this. When you terminate, or you or AWS terminates any instance, it will delete all the data, scratch the all the data, and given back to the another user. So those will not have any data and any instance. So that's what it is. A spot instance, as I'm telling you, it's a spot instances pricing model. So don't confuse with the on-demand, or there is another called reserved. So don't try to confuse with it. It is an only option which is available in AWS. If you want to use spot instances, only on-demand instances is in the pot of the free tier. So you can see here we are only talking about the spot instances. We are not talking about the on-demand or the another instance called reserved instances. We are only a spot instances model. It's an only option they are giving it. So if you want to use it, let's say you have a very financial data, very crucial. You have stored in an EC2 instance, which is an, let's say, spot. So you don't know when this instance will close and taken by the AWS. So in this case, you will not use these spot instances. You might go with on-demand instance, or maybe another called reserved instances, which we'll discuss in this section later. So if you're much thinking about your data, or I think a lot of questions are coming, guys. Just try to understand. So what I'm trying to tell you is like, so it is only an option which is available by the AWS. So they will bid, they will give the unused capacity for bidding purposes. So that's, if someone came and if you want to bid more, then he will take the resources from you. Means it's not like he will delete the terminate the instance. So when in AWS anyone terminate the instance, so all the data will be deleted from the instances, and the same capacity will be, means the compute storage will be deleted. So that is what the spot instances. So we'll try to see another reserved instances. So given you the option to make a one-time payment for each instance you want to reserve, and in turn receive a significant discount on the hourly usage charge for that instance. So reserve. So what is this will do? We will reserve the instance. So wherein what we will do is, we'll, if you go to the EC2 section of it, you can cancel and exit. You can see here we have an, it is still coming. It's taking time to load. Okay, it's came. You can see that spot requests. If you go to the spot request, so you can see that request spot instance. If you click on request spot instance, you can see, okay, which instance you want to select. Let's say, okay, this instance I want to select, and which type you can see. So these are all the types which are available at this point of time. That is what I'm telling you, Mridul. If a person bid more than you, AWS will remove the instances, terminate the instances from your instance without notifying you, and then the instances will given back to the other guy. So this is only applicable for spot instances. This will not applicable for on-demand or the reserved instances. So if you are taking the data, and why should I need to someone like AWS can take from instances, then if you're thinking all these things, you might not go for spot instances, right? So you'll go for either on-demand or maybe from the reserved instances. So that's what we'll do. So we'll basically all these things. You can see here the instances, and you can see here maximum price, how much you can give. So like 4.5 cents per hour, what is the maximum price you can give it. Yes, Himad. So that's why, as I told you, it's an option is available by the AWS. If you want to use it, you can use it. So if you don't, if you're thinking about data or storage and all those things, then you will not go for spot instances, right? So you will not at all go for spot instances. So you will go for on-demand or reserved instances only. But as I told you, it's an option given by the AWS. If you want to go with, if you are very much thinking about the pricing, but not about the data or the servers or how many servers will have the access and all, Then only if you're much thinking about the pricing model, so you don't want to pay for that much price for the a particular specific model, then you will go for this thing. So you can basically bid here. So how much amount you want to bid for here? Let's, as you told that, let's say $5 per hour. So think like if you do it, so then you can add storage and launch. So I'm not doing here anything, so but it will cast mine, so that's why I'm not doing. So I'm not doing it. So basically you need to bid, so the same day or maybe some other days or maybe other 1 week or maybe 1 month, the same other guy came and he wants to bid more than that. So what we'll do, we will terminate the, as the other guy has bidding more, then AWS will delete the instance from you and remove the instance and delete the data and everything, scratch the data, and given the raw hardware specifications like CPU, RAM, hard disk to the other guys who bid more than that. So that's what the spot instance. So as I told you, spot instances will work like this. So if you're not thinking about data and all, and also not thinking about the servers, how many when should be available and the data, and it should not go down or something like this, then you should not go for spot instances. uh, if you're taking if you, Rahul, if you're taking on demand or the reserved, so AWS will only given the unused from the unused capacity only, not from already used, because on demand and reserved instances are reserved to the customer, so they will not be taken back by the AWS. Only spot instances is a kind of taken back by AWS at any point of time, wherein on demand and reserved instances will not go, will be available with your account as long as you're using it, or maybe as long as you're stopping it with your instance. So if you delete only, that will be deleted from your account, and also that will be, the instance will be given back to AWS in the pool, in it is available for others to use that capacity, the raw capacity. So if you go for reserved instance, you can say reserved instances is there. So just purchase reserved instances. If you can say here, you can see the platform, watch which platform you want to have. Let's say I want to go with Windows SQL Server Standard. So availability zone, so which availability zone, so we'll discuss this availability zone and region. Sorry, I think we already discussed about the availability zone, right? So basically this availability zone is a data center which is in the region. So in Singapore we have only 2 data centers, means the 2 availability zone. So reserved instances will work on the availability zone level. So if you take, let's say 1A availability zone and tenancy, so we'll discuss what is this tenancy means, and then instance type. So what instance type you want to purchase for, let's say you will purchase for, let's say M1 medium, and term, how many years you want, either for 1 month, sorry, either for 1 year or maybe three years. So we have only 2 options, 1 year and 3 years, means max you can reserve an instance for 3 years. Let's say I will go for 3 years, and you have any offerings for, we'll discuss what is this no upfront and guys, try to make a note of your questions so that we'll have a question and answer section so that you can understand. But most of the questions will be answered, if you're keep with the session or keeping with the uh, section what we are discussing. So you can select no upfront, partial upfront, and all upfront. So we'll discuss what is this, no? Then search. You can say basically search for it, and you can, at this point of time, reserved instance is not for available. But if you go in another region, you will find it, something like this. So what you can do is, it will give you the option how many servers were there, how much is the charge. So why reserve, when to purchase reserved instances means you will have the, what, let's say if you want to use a T2 micro, so T2 micro instance, as we discussed, 10 cents per an hour is the on-demand pricing. This is what. So let's say if you want to use it for, let's say 1 year or maybe 3 years, if you want to use, or maybe you'll use this for till your company exists, so maybe 10 years or 20 years. So what you're doing, you're using it for long term. So in this case, what will happen, 10 cents per an hour means, like if you calculate here, 24 hours a day and 0.10 cents. You can see $2.4 per a day. So if you take into, let's say, 30 days a month, so you need to pay $70 per month. And if you take into the 12 months of it, means a 1 year, so a whole year you need to pay $864 if you use it for 1 year. This is how. So it's like Satya, it's like the same way, like it's in dollars, right? So what is the current dollar rate to conversion rate to rupee? So that's, they will, based on that only they will so do it. So based on that only they will try to calculate it. So how is actually rupees converting at the dollar level? That's where they will try to convert. So let's think like T2 micro for 10 cents per an hour. If you use it for 1 year, you will you need to whole year you will pay for $864 per year, let's say. Wherein if you use, if this is what we are talking about, the on-demand instances. Let's say if you take about reserved instances, if you are already thinking of using to 1 year or maybe 3 years, so why can't you go for 1 year reserved? If you go for 1 year of reserved an instance, so what will happen? You will get the 40 to 75% of the whole purchase in a year. So you will get the benefit of almost from like 40 to 75%. You'll pay lesser. Let's say if you take 50% is lesser, like you will only pay for $400 like this. If you purchased for reserved instance and you use for reserved instance. So what it will be, wherein if you use on-demand instances, you have to pay for 1 year $864. Wherein if you go for reserved instances, it will be only $400. So what you are doing here, we are basically beneficially from the pricing model. So where we don't want to pay the remaining $464 if you use it with the reserved instances. But there is also another risk here, wherein on-demand instances, if you only use for let's say 2 months, as I discussed, $70 per month, so you will only pay for $144 if you use it for 2 months. Wherein if you purchase for 1 year for this reserved instances, if you didn't use it, but still you will be charged for the $400 if you only used for 2 months or something like that. So what it means, like if you only think like you will use for 1 year or maybe 3 years, then only you will go for reserved instances where you will get the pricing benefits from 40% to 75%. But if you are not sure exactly when you will delete these instances or when you terminate your instances, so then what you need to go with the on-demand instances. So we'll try to see a better example. So we'll have in the organizations, we'll have test environments, we'll have development environments, and we have production environments. So test and dev environments, where what you will do is you will develop here in the development environments and you will test. Testers will test the environments, wherein you will not go for reserved instances, wherein you will only go for on-demand instances. Basically you will develop only for let's say 6 months, you will only test for 1-2 months, something like, but you will not test for whole year or maybe 3 years, or you will not develop for 1 year or maybe 3 years. Wherein production, here you will use it for years. So at the point of time you might go for reserved instances, wherein you will use it for 1 year, reserved for 1 year or maybe 3 years. So like this, in the production anyway, you need to have your servers up and running and your instances up and running for all the time. So then you need to go for reserved instances, wherein you will get the 40 to 75% of the price beneficial from the AWS instead of. So we're in development environment and the test environment, we don't know when we'll complete the development, and once we complete the development and we'll move all the data to production, we'll migrate all the data to productions, means we'll copy the data which tested and then move it to the production. So after the development and after the testing, what we'll do, we'll delete the servers, whatever the instances which we created. So wherein development or testing purposes, we don't require the reserved instances, wherein we will only do it on-demand instances. Wherein for production, you always needs to run the instances, always need your application or the sites to be up and running. So you can go with the reserved instances. Either you can go with 1 year or maybe 3 years. Why we need to use this? You will get around 40 to 75% of the pricing benefits. So this is where you need to use this reserved instances model. So in this one, if you can see here, if you click on purchase reserved instances, and you can see that there is an offering. So click on here, no upfront, partial upfront, and all upfront. So what is this? No upfront and partial upfront and all upfront. So what does this means? So we'll try to see. No upfront, let's say no UF, and what is this? No upfront and full upfront and other things. What is this mean? Partial upfront. Okay, forget the word actually. The partial upfront. Okay, partial upfront UF, and then all upfront. So what is this means? In the reserved instance ones, and again these are all in the reserved instances model only, not in the other instances. So what is this no upfront means? So no upfront means, as we discussed in the, let's say we use for T2 micro instance, for 1 year you'll pay for 864 in on event. If you go for reserved instances, you need to only pay for $400. So that's what, let's say what is our total cost is $400 per a single server for whole 1 year, let's say. Okay, now if you pay with, what is this no upfront means? So you will not pay anything at the while purchasing the reserved instance. So what you need to do is, let's say 400 by, if you take the calculation again, 400 by, let's say 400 by 12 months. So mostly like you'll have like 34 of the, maybe 33 or $34 will be charged per month. So every month you need to pay for 34, and I'm giving a rough explanation or maybe example. So it might not be example it be the same, so it might change. So what I'm doing is like $34 each month you need to pay for it. So if you take no upfront means you're not paying whole amount at the same time, wherein if you're paying for a monthly, it's like monthly, every month you're paying $34. Let's say if you take a partial upfront means, so what you do, let's say you want to pay $200 as a partial amount, and remaining $200, what you need to do again, 200 by like 12 months. So like you need to pay only for $16, let's say. So $200 $200 you will pay first, and then $16 per month you will need to pay for monthly. So wherein all upfront means you will pay $400 at the same time. So means at the end of the billing cycle of your month. Let's say you're in the June, so you'll pay $400 at the end of the June, or maybe the first of the July. So the whole amount. That's for the all upfront. So what is the beneficial here? No upfront and partial upfront and all upfront. So if you take all upfront, you will only pay for $400. But if you take partial upfront, so you're only paying 200, but the remaining 200 what will do? So you might not paying the exact 200, you might be paying, let's say $220 or maybe $230, because you're not paying at the same time. So they might like interest kind of a thing, where you'll get some $10-$20 extra. When if you're taking no upfront means you're not paying at the same time, so you're paying $400 in each month, let's say. So what you'll do, you, if end of the year, if you can say, you might not pay exact 400, you may be like 480, 450, or maybe $480 to the in the no upfront model. That same like you will give you some interest kind of a thing, wherein you are not paying anything on the upfront, you are only paying for month. So here we are talking about the monthly. So if you are using or not using, you will be billed for it. So that's what the reserved month instances works. No upfront and no partial upfront and all upfront. If you pay at the same time, you will get the again price benefits. If you go with partial amount and no upfront means, when you will go for no upfront or partial upfront means you will not have that much financial where you can pay only full amount at the same time. So you don't have. So you have some bunch of money, or less financial, so you don't have that much money to pay at the same time. So then you can go with no upfront or maybe the partial upfront, but it will have some burden, like maybe extra $10 or maybe $20, something like that you need to pay if you use the partial amount, wherein if you use no upfront, maybe you need to go for another 50 or 60, something like that you need to pay for it. So you can see the same example here. We can go to the Amazon calculator. One second, Himmat, I will try to. No upfront EMI, partial upfront down payment EMI, and all upfront is full. Yes, exactly, Himmat. So what he's trying to say, I will try to. So what is done it is, so Himmat has given a very good example, I think. So no upfront means what is saying that EMI, but here no upfront means you need to pay. It's not the EMI. So EMI every month. So partial upfront means a down payment. You need to pay some down payment sometime. Then the EMI, and all upfront means you can say that full payment. So thanks for the example, Himmat. I think it's a better example than what I told you. So you can see that no upfront means EMI for a month, like where we'll do the all the Flipkart or Snapdeal. The partial upfront means you'll pay some down payment and then EMI. Then all upfront means you need to pay at the same time while purchasing the product, something like this. So this is how it works. And you can see here, okay, if you go to the instance pricing model, the calculator, if you take the billing model, let's say you can have like 1 year upfront, 1 year partial, and 1 year all, and you can have 3 year partial and 3 year all upfront. You can see that. So these are all the, if you can take on demand, no contract. Let's say 1 year no upfront, you can say, and close and save. We are using M4 large, and you can see that $150, $157. We'll try to note it down all these things. So $157.68. This is for no upfront. You can see no upfront. It's no upfront. The same Windows M4 large. Let's say if you take a 1 year partial upfront, means some down payment and then remaining, and you can say that $69. You can say that $69.35. This is wherein partial upfront. You can say that partial upfront. And if you take 1 year all upfront, oh, it's giving nothing. One second. It's not giving nothing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. You can see that estimated monthly billing, and you can see that support plan, we don't need it. So basically you can see here we'll have $163,000. So one second, if you go, sorry, if you go here, you can see. So monthly you're not paying anything here. So what you'll do, you need to pay like, oh, one second. We'll try to clear this form. Yes, I've cleared it. So support, we don't need it actually. We'll try to see. Okay, same, add a new row. We'll try to see the same Windows instance and M4 large, and you can close and save. And you can see that and you can see here for all upfront, what you need to do is close and save, close and save. You can see that no monthly cost, means so you're not paying the monthly cost. But if you can see here, you can see it. So 1 year totally, if you think, you will say $1,636 for whole 1 year, means 136 monthly. If you convert it to monthly, like you will take that into $136 and 834 cents per 1 view. So we'll only think about if you can see here, you can only understand in a better way. Like if you take on-demand instance, the Windows M4 large, at the end of the year, if you use it for, think like if you use a server for 1 year. So if you use for on-demand, so you need to pay for $2,670.36. So this is how you need to pay if you go with on-demand instance. Wherein if you go with 1 year upfront, and what you need to do is at the end of the year, so total will be like $1,892. So if you go with, you can see instead of, you're almost saving like in almost like $700 you're paying if you go with the 1 year no upfront. So if you take with 1 year partial upfront, you can again go with like $1,667.20. If you go with 1 year all upfront, you can see that, so there is again a vary, you can see that $1,636 per year. So if you try to compare here with the on-demand, if you pay if you using year for an year the full instance, what you need to, how much you need to pay is, you need to pay for $2,600. Wherein if you use the same server for 1 year by using the all upfront model, so you can almost like paying saving more than $1,000 on a server. So this is how the reserved instances will work. So when if you go with on demand and if you go with the all upfront, you can see the difference. It's almost more than $1,000. And you can see there is also difference between no upfront and partial upfront and the full upfront, because so you're not paying anything on the upfront. So here the difference is also there, which around like $260 is difference between the no upfront and as well as the all upfront. And also you can see the partial difference between partial upfront as well as the all upfront. Means this is also some like around $30 is a change is also there. So this is how basically you can do it. And the same thing you can use it if you used on-demand instance for 3 years, you can pay for $8,000. But if you use a 3 years partial upfront, you can only pay for 3,900. Where if you can use for all upfront like 3,600. Wherein if you use on demand, you need to pay for $8,000. Wherein here you are only paying less than $4,000. Means in 3 years you are saying $4,000 for 3 years for a Windows. What is the upfront? So okay, we'll try to see the example which I think Himmat gave. So no upfront means, so EMI means when you buy a product, when you buy a product in Flipkart or Snapdeal, what you will do, you will give the 12 months or 24 months EMI, you will convert into EMI. So equated monthly installments. So what you will do, the total cost is divided by 12 or 24 months and given back to you. And on a credit card, what you will do, you will be charged for every month. So when a partial upfront means, so you will pay some amount like $200. Let's say $400 is the actual charge. So you will pay for $200 and remaining $200 it will be again EMI, equated monthly installments, like for 12 years something, 12 months something. If you take all upfront means you need to pay at the purchasing time only. So you need to pay all the upfront at a same time. So this is what it is. That's what is all no upfront, partial upfront and all upfront. When you pay all upfront, you'll be even charged lesser than the partial or the no upfront. You can see that the difference is there. So you can see it. So if anyone asks for the costing of some instances, how many instances they want, let's say 5 instances. If your manager came and tell me we want to use it for some client is coming and we want to use it some like around 5 instances, let me know what is the billing for this. So you can give him the options, like if you use it for 1 year, this is what how much you will get it, and if you use it for 3 years if you get it, and if you do go with on demand we'll get like $8,000. But if you go for partial or upfront, we'll only pay less than $4,000. So this is how the reserved instances will work. But make sure while purchasing the reserved instances, once you purchased, you can't release. So basically if you purchase one reserved instances, you have to pay the purchased instances pricing till it completes. Means if you take 1 year, you need to pay for 1 year, either if you use it or not. It's no, AWS will not care. So if you are using or not, AWS will try to charge you. So you need to make sure that you will use the resources only you need it. So that's how it will work. So that's what the reserved instances means. So let's say you have purchased. So we'll try to see some risk analysis as well. So wherein you have purchased reserved instances, but later after 2 months the server think like I will try to give a better example. So let's say we have 10 servers in an instance. 10 servers in an instance. So another client came, we have created 5 instances, and that is into reserved model, and wherein these are, let's say, on-demand instances. So these are into reserved model. So you are reserved for it for 1 year. But after, let's say, 3 months, this guy said, I don't want to use it, I will cancel the project. So let's say the project got cancelled. Again, you have 7 months, sorry, what is 9 months of time. 9 months you need to pay for the reserved instances. So at this point of time, what you can do is, so reserved instances will check two specifications. One is availability zone and one is a type. So what type it is and what availability zone it is. So if the other instances is in the same availability zone which has the same type, so if it matches with the reserved instances specifications, like the same availability zone and the same type of instance is there, then automatically the 5 instances from this 10 instances will be converted into reserved pricing. So you don't need to do anything from your end. Automatically it will be reserved. The purchase will shift from on-demand to reserved pricing model, because you have deleted the 5 purchasing reserved instances. So automatically when you delete it, automatically on the fly within no time, but it should match with the same availability zone and same type. So then automatically it will be shifted to reserved instances pricing model. So 5 reserved instances, so like 5 reserved instances and 5 on-demand instances. So at this time what will have, so if he deletes also, still you will not lose any financials in the trade-offs. So what you will do is, you will basically, the remaining instances will come into the reserved pricing model and AWS will start billing in the same way. Let's say if the remaining instances were in a different availability zone than this, so what you need to do, is you need to stop the servers, terminate the servers, and again launch in the same availability zone. Or if it's not in the same type, let's we are talking about T2 micro, T3 M3 medium, and R3 something kind of thing. So if it's not in the same type, so what you need to do, you can also change the type as well. So we'll discuss how we can change the instance type, and as well as how we can launch in another availability zone. So we'll discuss, but note that reserved instances will work with this too. So it should be same availability zone, it should be the same type. So if it doesn't have the existing instances have, so you can change the existing instances to same availability zone which you have purchased reserved instances and the type. Why? Because I'm telling availability zone sorry, availability zone and type here. One second guys, you can see here it's taking some time to load. You can see here, while purchasing, so we'll try to purchase reserved instances, you can selecting the, let's say we'll select Linux now. Sign, it should be in the, let's say you have selecting the availability zone here. So if you select availability zone 1A in Asia Pacific region Singapore, it will be only applicable to 1A, and also we are selecting the type here also. So it should be the same type what we are selecting. So it should not be the different. So because we are choosing the type, and as well as we are choosing the instance availability zone, and as well as one more thing, the platform. So normally you have similar kind of an application, so you will only use a similar operating system. So if you are using some .NET application, so you have to use some Windows, or if you are using some PHP, Python, Ruby, Java kind of an application, so you will go with the Linux. So that's fair. So this is how your similar instances will be in the same operating system, so you need to make sure this as well. So this is how we can go ahead and do it. So this is how we need to make sure the type and as well as the instance availability zone where it resides. Okay, now think another risk. Let's say you don't have any other service who can take this reserved instances. Let's say the same example, you are already using 10 on-demand instances and you have another reserved 5 instances. The same example what we are talking about, after 3 months this guy said cancel the project. So what you need to do is, but you can't convert this on-demand instances, like you can't change the availability zone, or maybe it's some type, or maybe some, let's say these are all some Windows instances. So whatever you have 10 instances were there into Linux, so you can't choose the in reserved model, you can't change the operating system. So let's say all remaining were in Linux, but whatever you purchased is Windows. So basically what in this example what I'm trying to tell you is, you can't change this the 10 servers to on demand to reserved instances, because those are in different, maybe different operating system, maybe different availability zone, or maybe different type. You can't change this thing like any might be. So at that time what you need to do is, so remaining 9 months we need to pay. Do we need to pay in a 9 months? So in that case what you can do it, so you can also sell this reserved instance capacity to other customers in the AWS, other AWS customers. So there is a concept called marketplace. So if you just go here, second, see here it's not there. So just search with AWS marketplace. AWS marketplace, you can see the marketplace. So this is a marketplace. You can basically sell your reserved instance capacity which you have purchased, so which you are not using it, and let's say you want to sell to some other guy. So at the time what will, so the pricing will be done by some other customers. So if you are still purchased also, you can have an option to sell it to some other guys where they can use it. So that's where we can also do it. So these are the other things where we can do with the purchased instance type. So this is how we will do it, the purchase reserved instances. So spot instances, on-demand instances, and reserved instances. Spot instances, I don't think you will use anywhere. So till now I'm like almost 7 years of experience. So in 7 years experience, I never use the spot instances, because we don't know when AWS will try to terminate instances from you. So I don't need these instances, the spot instances, because we don't know when it will be deleted. So that's why I haven't used any instances. I have a question once again, brother. So we have 5 on-demand instances and 5 reserved instances. So the same example you'll try to say here, like, so you have 5 on-demand instances and 5 purchased reserved instances. So what you need to do is, you need to go to the purchase instances, reserved purchase instance. You need to purchase the 5 reserved instances, the same as on-demand instances. So what it will do is, you already have 5 reserved and you are buying another 5. So automatically this on-demand instances pricing will convert into reserved instances. So this is how it will work. So if you are, but it should match these 5 instances what you're talking about. It should match the availability zone, it should match the type, and it should match the operating system. So it should match these 3 things. So what it will do, if you match these things, so it will take, and no, it's there is not like on-demand instances in use or something like that. If you have the reserved capacity, and then automatically it will convert the on-demand to reserved instance. It will not like on demand will be using, we can't basically say that, use this instance as on demand and use this instance as reserved instance. So if you are using one instance and you have purchased another instance, then automatically it will convert to a reserved instance model. So automatically AWS will convert that into reserved instance model. Okay, so this is how basically the instance pricing works. And we can see that instance type. One question, guys. For example, if I have on-demand instance that I am using it currently, and will Amazon will terminate it on the fly. As I told you, Satya, if you are using on-demand or reserved, AWS will not delete. On-demand or reserved, AWS will not take the AWS will not have the authority to take the servers from you. It will not take. Wherein, if you are only using the spot instances only, AWS will delete or terminate the instances. This is only applicable to spot instances. This is not applicable to on-demand or reserved instances. That's all. So that's why normally no one use, but in some cases, if you want to use it, we can do it. So basically, as I told you, Himmat, reserved instances you will purchase for 1 year or maybe 3 years. Let's say you have purchased, okay, you are using 5 on-demand, you have created 5 on-demand instances, and later you're thinking of cost, so you have 5 reserved instances with the same instance type, operating system, and availability zone. You have purchased 5, so these 5 automatically from on-demand to reserved, it will shift automatically on the fly. It will shift to reserved instances. So let's say you have purchased for 1 year, and you have completed 1 year, and after the 1 year, in the next month, as it over means it's completed the 1 year purchasing reserved instance, then automatically you didn't repurchase again, so it will convert into from reserved to on demand because you haven't purchased again. So when, if you didn't purchase, it will automatically from reserved to on demand because you haven't purchased any reserved instances. Let's say again after 1 year, if you purchase again 3 year reserved instances, then automatically it will be in the reserved instances only. That's how. One second, Charles. If I have already running on demand instance and I create a new reserved instance, the existing on demand instance will remain or it will be converted to reserved. So guys, here create a new reserved instance. The existing on demand instance will be remain or it will be converted to reserved. So here, Charles, try to understand again here. So if you are creating an instance here, if we are creating an instance here, okay, we'll try to see here. I think this will give you a better idea, you guys. So we're selecting here and configuring the instance details. So here you can say that request spot instance. So request spot instance, but we don't have any option to select here the on demand or reserved here. So what it means, so whenever you create an instance, let's say you create one instance, one AWS EC2 instance with the Linux operating system, let's say, think it will be in the by default in the on demand pricing model. But you don't want on demand, you want to reserve. So what you need to do is you will go to the reserved instances, you will purchase the reserved instances with the same Linux, and where is actually it is in the availability zone. We'll see how to actually create this on a specific availability zone and all. We'll see it in the next sections, and you can see, and also you can see 1 year or 12 months. So when you purchase the reserved instances, AWS will not create the new instances. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when you purchase, means you're purchasing virtually. It's not when you create let's say when you purchase 5 reserved instances, it's not like AWS will create 5 reserved instances per year. So it will not create the 5 reserved instances. Again, you need to create the you need to create the on-demand instances. So it matches. If it matches, it will check. AWS will check. So if it matches with the reserved capacity, as I told you, availability zone, operating system, and the type, then these instances will charge in a reserved model. So that's what it is. Let's say as your example, Charles, if let's say you have one on-demand instances, and if you purchase the same one reserved instances with the same type, availability zone, and the operating system, so it automatically convert into the reserved instances pricing model. Reserved pricing model. It is automatically convert into reserved pricing. So this is how it works. So when you purchase reserved, don't think like it is. If it is different type, as I told you, this will not convert, as it's the result instance is a different type and on-demand instance is a different type. So what you need to do is either you need to change this instance to the same type as result instances, or even if you don't want to change, you will be billed for this on-demand instance as well as for the this result instance. So you will 1 plus 1 means what 2. So you need to pay for one on-demand instance and two one result instances. One second, Himmat, I'm just reading it. No, actually, we are only one instance only, Himmat. So that's what I'm telling. When you purchase the instance, it will not create the instance. It will basically see, AWS will see if any reserved instances, sorry, any on-demand instances were there. If it is there, if it matches with the type, availability zone is the same thing what we are talking. If it matches with, it automatically convert from the OD to the reserved instances pricing model. It will, as I told you, it will not create the instance. That's what I'm trying to clarify you guys so that you can understand. This is how it can do it. Okay, guys. Yes, yes, Himmat, true. So, okay, guys. I think it's 10:30 now. We'll take a break. So for 15. So we'll take a break for 15 minutes. So we'll come at 10:45. Uh, we'll take a break, guys. Nasima, I will try to give you the answer after the break. So it's already 10:30 now. So, or you make a note of this question. So we will have at the end of the question and answer section, we will have the questions. Okay, guys, take a break. Thank you. We'll come back at 10:45. Hi students, hope you guys have completed your break. Okay, I'm getting some question from Nasima saying, in Spot, will the instances not move from one region to another region instead of deleting? You can't have an option to basically move uh, in AWS anywhere. You can't move the instance, but we have an options like we can take a backup of an instance, Nasima, and then we can, using that backup, we can relaunch the instance in another region or maybe in the another availability zone. So we'll see how to do it in the next coming section, where we'll discussing about the image backups, AMI. So there we'll discuss these things, how basically you can move one instance from another region or maybe another uh, availability zone. Those that can be discussed in that meeting, so that we can see how we can do it and all. So directly you can't do it basically, but you can recreate the same instance on the different availability zone, but you can't move it. That's just not possible in the AWS. Now, okay. Now we discuss the instance, Spot instances, and as well as reserved and on-demand instances. When you create an instance, it will be automatically in the on-demand. So, but if you purchase reserved, then the instance will be converted to reserved instances. If you didn't purchase, that will be in the on-demand instance. And though you have purchased for 1 year and you have completed 1 year, but again you have not purchased the reserved instance capacity, then it will be in the on-demand instance. That's how it will work. So we'll discuss that instance type, like generous purpose T2. So try to see it in a, so AWS EC2 instance types. If you go here, you can see here in the link, if you can just go through, and I have all copied here the same data which I have in here. So you can say, we'll try to see. So you can see that generous purpose T2 instance, T2 model. So what is the features of this T2 model? So basically high frequency Intel Xeon processors with turbo up to 3.3 gigahertz. This is about the processor, and it has burstable CPU. Burstable CPU means you can use a higher CPU cores than you have assigned. So we'll discuss what is the CPU credits and all. And you can see here CPU credits per an hour. So if you use for 1 hour an instance, T2 nano instance, you will have 3 credits. So if you use for 10 hours, then you will have 30 hours. So let's say, what is this CPU credits means? If you need, we discuss, we have T2 nano, we have only one core. Let's say your application sometimes needs 2 cores of CPU, but you have just only one, but it can use to burst up to 3.3 gigahertz. So basically it can use that gigahertz frequency to CPU credits to upgrade. So while using that upgrading process of burstable CPU, it will use this CPU credits, means it will try to reduce. Let's say if it use it for some many times, then your allow your CPU credits will be down. So once you have completed your CPU credits, if you don't have CPU credits, means then you will not your CPU will not burst. So basically you don't need to do anything. The CPU credit credits, it's just automatically added by AWS based on how many hours you're using. And you can see that it's low cost, general purpose, instance type, and free tier eligible. Wherein T2 micro is free tier eligible, you can use it for free for 1 year. That's what it is, and it's in lowest cost. And you can see that it has balance of compute, memory, and network resources. So basically we are seeing that we have 2 cores here for the T2 medium, and you can see that 4 GB of RAM. Here you can see that 8 GB of RAM here. And for here storage, we'll discuss what is this EBS and all. So we'll come into the EBS section, we'll discuss what is this EBS. So at this point of time, think EBS as just like a hard disk. We have M4 model, where in M4 it has the features of like 2.4 gigahertz Intel Xeon. This is the CPU the processor model, the core model of it, and it has ABS. It is used in, and it is support for enhanced networking. So basically, it has that enhanced networking, means it has some kind of a speed of networking. So it has like use maybe a 10 MB per second kind of a thing, where the uh, uh, traffic between the EBS volumes or your instances with the users and all, it will be in it's better than the T2 model, where you have some network performance. That's what it is. So it's again, it's same like balance of compute memory and network resources. So you can see that in the M4 model we have M4 large, M4X large, M4 2X large. So these are all the models in the M4 type. So you can see M4 large is 2 cores and 8 GB RAM, where you can M4 extra is like 4 CPUs and 16 GB RAM. And you can see that dedicated EBS bandwidth means the data flowing between the EBS values within the hard disks. That's what it's saying, like 450 Mbps per second if you take M4 large. If you take M4 X large, you can say that 750 Mbps, and if you take M4 2X large, it has 1 TB per second. You can say if you take M4 4X large, you have 2 TB, and M4 10X large, you can say 4 TB. And also you can M4 X large, you have 4 cores of CPU and 160 RAM, and you can see M4 X large is 16 cores and 64 GB of RAM. So these are all the types. So based on how much you require 4 CPUs and 16 GB RAM, then you can go with M4 X large, or you need some 40 cores and 160 GB, then you can go with this. So based on your application or the website, how much it needs. So how many cores it needs, and as well as how much memory it needs, and how much network. Do we need some better network performance? You can get it. Here if you can go up, we don't have any network preference here. So when you come to M4 model, we have dedicated EBS bandwidth. So what it means, in T2 model you don't have an option to bandwidth specifications, but here M4 model you can have this specifications. The same way the T2 model is the lowest one, the pricing, where in M4 you will have some charge apart from the T2 model. So you need to pay because they are giving more options and more cores, more uh, RAM, and as well as more EBS bandwidth, means a throughput you can call it as in the technical terms. Where you can see we have also M3 model as well. You can see that high frequency internal Xeon processor, V2 IV bridge processor, and also SSD based instant storage, means EBS for fast IO performance, means input output request, and also same balance of it. And you can see that in this M3 model we have M3 medium, M3 large, M3 X large, and M3 2X large. So all these models differs in the hardware specifications. You can see virtual cores, you can see 3.7 by GB, you can see for M3 large, you can see 2 M3 for 7.5 gigs of RAM. If you take same thing M3 2X large, you have 8 virtual cores and 30 memory gigs of it. So we'll discuss all these things in ABS section, which in the at this point of time think like is in hard disks. So now you can see that SSD storage. So in SSD storage we have 1 into 4 and 1 into 32 and 2 into 40 and 2 into 80. So solid state drive SSD means, that's what SSD means. So solid state drives means it's kind of an hard disk model. Okay, so we'll try to see M3 1 into 4. And fun here, we don't have any that kind of SSD storage in the about 2 models. If you take T2 or maybe M4, we didn't have that, but in M3 we have this SSD storage 1 into 4, 1 into 32, and 2 into 40 and 2 into 80. So what is this? So we'll try to see. We'll try to create M3 instance so that you can understand. So if you go for the instances, it's taking some time. Okay, we'll try to launch an instance. So we'll try to launch an instance from the M3 model. You can see instance at T2, same thing, T2 model, M4. We are discussing about the M3 model. So it's not M4, it's M4. So M3. You can see that. The same year I have made the same, like here you can see M3 mid. Let's say we'll try to take M3 2X large. Go with here and M3 2X large. We'll try to see M3 2X large, M3 2X large, yes. M3 2X large. Configure instance details, add storage. Okay. Now here we are excuse me, till this time we are not using this add storage feature anywhere. So now we'll try to evaluate it, elaborate it. Now we'll try to add a new value. Okay, you have an option. If you click this drop down button, you have instance store 1, instance store 0. If you select instance store 0 and as well as add again, and you have an option instance store 1, and if you again try to add, you don't have again the drop down button here. You can see here, you don't have here, you have only EBS. Okay, we'll try to delete it, and you can see here we have instance store 1 and instance store 0, both were there. And you can see here the same way in M3 what it's saying for M3 2x large. You can say that 2 into 80, 2 into 80 means 2 SSD volumes, means 2 instance store volumes with a size of 80 GB. That's what it is. So you can create 2 instance store drives or the partitions, or maybe the two physical disks which can attach to your instance, which you can use it, and the size of it is 2 into 80 GB, means 2 hard disks with 80 GB. So we'll try to see with the M3X large. So we'll try to go back and say we'll try to see the other example as M3X large. It has 2 again into 40, so 2 instances with 40 GB. So we'll try to see, no. Yes, Vijay, true. So we'll try to do it with only one. So we'll try to go with M3 large, which has only one. So we'll try to see with M3 large. Okay, M3 large. So check it out, M3 large. Just M3 large. Okay, I can say next configure. Yes, I want to change with the continue M3 large because I'm changing the configuration. So it's asking for the confirmation and storage, and you can see add new value, and you can have an option here only one. You don't have two. And if you try to add it again, you don't have the instance store option. But because we are taking the M3 large, it has only one hard disk which 32 GB of size. So that's what. So what is this SSD means? It's same like in a hard disk, but it's a temporary storage. What is mean by temporary storage means it is free to use, so you don't need any charges for it. AWS will give you the free charge of it, this SSD instance store volumes. This is what it is. It's free for you, and you have an option to see here how much you have. We have only 4 GB here, 32 GB here, 40 GB here, and 80 GB for this specific instances. Even if you go with M4, you don't have an option to select instance store volumes, and you can set T2 also, you don't have an option. So only in M3 also, only M3 is providing that option. So why is providing for free? So it can give you the temporary storage. That's fine. Okay. So do we have any benefits? Yes, because we are getting some storage for free where we can use it. And do we have any issues with these, or do we are discussing about the pros, that it is we have some storage and all. So what is the cons for this instance store volumes? So here, don't try to again confuse you guys. I'm telling you, it's an option given by AWS. So if you want to use it, you can use it. If you don't want to do it, then you don't want to do it. So instance store volumes, what it will do is instance store volumes. Let's say you have created 40 GB, which is given in M3 large. Which way? So once we launch it, we will have the root partition. Means if you create a Windows, you will have C partition with some let's say 30 GB, and D partition is created by instance store, which has a 40 GB. Let's say so 40 GB. So what it means, if you restart your instance, if you reboot your instance, the data will be in this instance store volume will be persist, means it will be there if you restart. But if you stop and start again, this data in this volume will be deleted. So it's option given by AWS can store the temporary storage, means if it deletes also, you don't need to worry about, or you don't need to take care of it. That's what they have given. So if you reboot, the data will be there, but anytime if you stop and start, the data will be gone. So if you need any, again the same thing, financial data or maybe some very crucial data if you have, and you don't want to delete when you stop and start or something like that, then you don't store it in the instance store volumes. It is not preferable to non-preferable to store in those data in the instance store volumes, which is very crucial. So in that case, what you'll do, you'll create an ABS volume, means same like HDD, the same like here, with your how much you need, like 40 GB you need, 100 GB you need 500 GB or 1 TB, something like. Based on that, how much storage you need, you create that EBS volume, wherein this EBS is not like instance. When you restart, it will not remove the data, or when you stop and start also, the data will not be go, the data will be persist with your instance or the server. So that is the cons of the instance store volumes. So what it will do is, when you stop and start, the data which is stored in this instance store volume will be deleted. That's what it is. So that's why be careful while you're storing the data on this M3 instance store values. That's what the SSD means. So that is what the difference between the EBS and SSD storage in the AWS. So if you take this as a storage, and if you stop and start, the data will be gone. So don't try to put any data in the real time, which is production. If you want to use anything which is crucial, then don't configure it, don't use it. So in that case, if you need some data, use with root volumes. Like we can say that we have an option to select the, if you try to see it, select okay, Windows 2012, and go with M3 large, okay, 1 into 32 SSD. So configure instant details, we'll go here and add storage. You can have instant store, and you can add, in that case what you'll do is you'll add an EBS value with a storage of, let's say you need 100 GB, then you can configure this 100 GB. So we'll try to discuss this volume type in the next session. We'll discuss what is this and all. We'll discuss in the next section. So if then this will be whatever the data you are storing here, you will not be, the storage will not be deleted. But if you store in this drive, when you stop and start, it will delete, but when you reboot, it will not be deleted. That's how it is. After stop start, even if I lose the data, will I be able to use the instance store? Yes, you can use that instance store volume chalice. You will have a fresh. So how actually it works, we'll try to see here. So basically, instance store volumes in a pool, let's say in a pool you have instance store volumes, let's say. Yes, you can normally, how you copy the data like from D drive to E drive, E drive to C drive, somehow you can copy paste, right? The same thing you can do. The way you can, normally it's like normal hard disk only, but when you stop and start, as I told you, it will be deleted. But you can normal things like you can copy paste from anywhere to anywhere, something of that same things will be do. So let's say we have a pool of instance store volumes. Let's say you have launched instance, and by default it has an instance store volume of, let's say 32 GB. It is attached to this instance. So when you reboot, the connection between the instance store volume to the instance, the server which you have, will not be lost. It will be in continue. When you reboot the machine, it will have the connection, so that you will not lose the data. That's what it is. But when you stop and start, when you stop, the connection between the instance store volume and the instance will last. And when you start it, while starting, it will create another, attach another instance store volume with the server. So what are the data you will, once the connection gone, what it will do, AWS will terminate the what AWS will do is it will scratch all the data. It empty all the data which is in the instance store value, and it will available to the other customers. So when you reboot, you will attach another link, might be this or maybe might be this. So you don't know which instance volume will be attached to you from the pool. So it automatically attached by the AWS, and AWS as well will not know that this will be attached or this will be attached. They have process, they have a technical team which they have designed an application where it will pick randomly and some device and it will attach to it. So you don't know which one. So when you attach again, you'll have again the 32 GB of space. You can use it for your some temporary storage or some data. And but while stopping or starting, you need to make sure, if it is crucial, backup to another EBS volume like root C drive in Windows, or maybe root partition in Linux, like this. So the link will be break. So that is why when you stop and start, the data will be gone. So that is why the data will be lost. So that's what the instance store volume is. So as I told you, it's same like the spot instances, the instance store value. It is an option provided by AWS. If you want to use it, you can. If you don't want, you're not thinking about losing your data and all. Why should I need to put your data, my data, which is where when you stop and start the data is lost and all. So then you don't use that option wherein you can create ABS volumes, where we'll see how to create those ABS volumes and how to attach and all. We'll see in the next section. We have OneDrive is a cloud storage. Satya, we'll see the same thing like AWS. It has S3 simple storage service where you can store the data. It is there. So we'll see the in the next coming sections. In the S3 section we can see it. I think if you go through the Collaborate tag link, you can see the course curriculum actually. So if you have a time, you can. Collaborate tag is cloud computing with this one. So if you just go to here and see here at the course curriculum, you can see what we are actually covered. So these are all the things we'll be covering throughout our session. So you can see here all what are the topics we are covering in the, you can see here S3 simple storage service. We'll see all these things in the, like how to create, delete, permissions, everything we'll try to see. So these are all the services which are going to cover in our session. So this is how we can do it. Okay, Charles. In physical hardware, we will be having the RAID configuration like RAID 5, RAID 1, and RAID 6 for data rate. But how it is in AWS instances. So in the software RAID is available, Charles, but not hardware RAID. Like you don't put RAID controller in AWS, but you can use a RAID software RAID. Like you can configure in Linux, you have MDADM, that multi-disk administration command, where you can use different hard disks to combine as a RAID level, like mirror or striping, or maybe like RAID 5, RAID 6, or maybe RAID 10. So you can configure software RAID on the different. Let's say RAID 1 you take minimum 2 hard disk unit because it's mirror. So but similar in size. So let's say, well, in that case what you'll do, you'll create 2 EBS volumes with 100 GB, let's say. Then using that 200 GB hard disk, you'll configure using software RAID, you configure the RAID mirror on the AWS instance on the Linux operating system. When you talking about operating system level, it will be same, because in your data center and in your organization the Linux is same, and here also the Linux is same. On your organization the Windows is same. What is the Windows is the same Windows is here also. So operating system level everything is same. There is no change, nothing, zero changes, but it's only the change in the different services they are providing, like how we are creating and how we are attaching and detaching, and how we are actually upgrading and bouncing our servers like this. These are all the differences there. But when coming to the operating system, how you can actually configure, how you can actually use your operating system, how you can actually secure your operating system, everything is same in your organizations or the data center is same with the AWS. So there is no difference. That's how it is. So if you can come down here and if you can see, we'll see in the next class, Himmat. In the next session, we'll coming in it, in that one dedicated host and dedicated instance. We'll try to see it so that you can understand. Yes, Charles, go ahead. Okay, once we completed this instance types, where we'll see what is the difference between the dedicated host and what is dedicated host and all. So we'll see. You can see C4 instances. You can see high frequency Intel Xeon. Yes, you are talking about the KVM console or something like this, but in here, Charles, we don't have in the AWS we don't have any KVM kind of a technology where you can access from there. So what you need, if the server is not reachable or the service is not starting, what you need to do is you need to contact the AWS support so that they can give you an assistance on doing those things. So you will not have any console access like BIOS access in our organization or in our data centers where we have those, but we will have that. No, Satya, we don't have any client like desktop instances like Windows 8 or Windows 10. We'll only have all the servers here, but we will have a service dedicated to uh, you can see if we go to the services, there is a service provided by AWS called workspaces. If you come down and you can see here, you can see workspaces. If you go to this service, this is like remote desktop service, means using thin clients. What you can do is, are using thin clients or using your operating system, what you can do is Amazon Workspaces provides users with a desktop experience in the cloud that can be accessed from any connected device. So what you can do is you can create a workspace, means you can create the desktop here and you can access. So if you can click on get started now, you can say launch quick setup, like you can say if we have three different bundles, the same like uh, volume instances, volume types, you can say. So here the desktop is like 1 core CPU and 2 GB of RAM and 10 GB storage. If you go with this value plus with Office 2010, it has the same 1 core CPU, 2 GB RAM, 10 GB, but it has Office 2010 inbuilt. And you can see here Office 2013 inbuilt, and you can see standard plus has Office 2010 inbuilt. So these are things you can see it, like you can say that if you say performance, you can see 2 cores of CPU and 7.5 GB of RAM, 100 GB of disks. So these are all the pre-bundled uh, workspaces, means desktop machines. So if you select this one, what you will do is you will have 2 core CPU and 7.5 GB of RAM and 100 GB of hard disk you will have, and which has a Office 2013 is pre-built installing, so you don't need to do anything. So that's how, this is what they called it as the uh, the desktop, but you can do it. So this is what how it is. So you can choose anyone and then click on it and start. So you can see that. So if you select this performance place with Office 2010, let's say, as you can saying Windows 7 experience, means it uses the Windows 7 operating system. If you say it with performance with 2013, you can say it is using the same Windows 7, 2 core 7.5 100 GB storage and applications. So what are the applications which has? So it has Microsoft Office 2013, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, OneNote, and Microsoft Internet Explorer, Firefox, and WinZip, and Trend Micro Worry-Free Business Security Services. So antivirus is also from Trend Micro. It's inbuilt in the desktop, and also you can see the price is $97 per workspace per month. So this is how you can do it. So these are the applications. So once you create it, you can also install your own applications, own operating system, sorry, own antivirus if you want to do it. So what are the applications you want to use it? So those things you can basically normally do it. So it's like this called the desktop environment. So basically from here, launch an instance. You don't launch in a Windows desktop, but we're in workspace, you can do that. That's how it is. Now we'll try to see here, and we'll try to see C4. You can see that it has high frequency in Intel Xeon E2566, sorry, 2666 V3 Haswell processors and EBS optimized, and you can see dedicated EBS bandwidth is 500 MB per second. You can see these are all the types here: C4 large, C4 X large, C4 2X large. So everything, like we have some. If you take C4 X large, you have 4 GB of RAM, 7 GB of memory, and if you can see for a 4X large, you can see 16 cores of CPU and 30 memory chips, and it has a 2 TB of dedicated MB per second, means the request will flow with a faster performance up to 2 TB per second. So you can transfer 2 TB per within a second the data. That's how it is. And you can see it has support for enhanced networking, and you can also use it for clustering and all. So this, and if you can go for C3, so it's support for enhanced networking, as again support for clustering, and also SSD backed instance storage. That's like we can see like 2 into 16 means 2 instance storage volume 16 GB. And you can see here C3 8X large, it has 32 cores of CPU and 60 GB of RAM, and it has 320 GB of 2 instance store volumes attached to the instance. So this, if you can see, 2X large, it has 8 cores of CPU and 15 GB of RAM. So if you basically see all these things, you can. Yes, yes, Vijender, will see in coming sections. We'll see all these things. We'll see. So memory optimized. You can see the latest one, X3. Wherever the SSD is mentioned, the concept is same, right? Yes, Charles, the concept is same. Yes, yes, true. So if you say SSD means the same thing, instance store value. You can see that memory optimized. We see it in the first introduction of the class, like starting of through today's class, we have seen in the landing home page of AWS. You can see that we have introduced new uh, instance type. They have said memory optimized X1. X1 32X large is the only type which is available at this point of time in this one, and it has 128 cores and 2 TB of RAM, and it has, you can see that again, 2 TB of 2 SSD store volumes. You can have an option, and also you can see that 10,000 MBs per second EBS bandwidth. You can means you can transfer files like copy pasting or reading or writing up to 10,000 MBs per second. So if you have the data which is flowing for 10,000 Mbps per second, MBs data, still you can complete within second. So that's how it is. So you can see that high frequency Intel Xeon E7 880 V3 Hassel processors for this, and lowest price for GB of RAM, and it has a 2 TB of DDR4 instance memory. So you can see DDR3, DDR2 for RAMs, right? So it is using the DDR4 based of instance memory for this GBs. And you can also see the SSD storage. You can see here 2 into 2 TB, so 4 TB of instance storage. And you can see that R3 as well. So we also have it. It is using high frequency Intel Xeon E5 2670V2 Ivy Bridge processor. So and it is as an option called SSD storage. You can see that 1 into 32, 1 into 8, see all these things. And you can see these are also types. You have R3 large, R3X large, R2X large, all these things. Like if you take R3X large, you have 8 cores of CPU and 61 GB of RAM. You can see this is how we can see. So you can see it's GPU as well. We have 2 instances here. It is using same like Intel Xeon E5267 processor, and it has you can see that the NVIDIA GPU, and it has the 4 GB of video memory experience. So if you have any streaming applications, you have like YouTube or something like that, then in that case you can go with this GPU type model, wherein you have G2 XLR and G2 8X large, where you can create, if you want to host a video streaming site like Netflix or YouTube or maybe Hotstar, something like that, where you have an option like 1 GPU's general purpose units. So you have 8 core CPU and 32 CPU here, and you have 15 GB and 60 GB here, and here the same SSD, we have 160 GB here and 120 GB here if you take this. So these are all we have also like storage optimized, and you can see the same high frequency Intel Xeon. This is using this model, and it has SSD storage support, and it has support for 10. So I'm not sure exactly what is the string, but it has support for enhanced networking. So you can see that it has also the performance as well. So high random IO performance, like input output, reading and writing. You can see I2X large, 2X large, 4X large, and 8X large. So you can see the same thing like CPU cores, memory, and it has an option to 1 into 800 GB and 2 into 800 GB and 4 into 800 GB, and you can see that 8 into 800 GB. So you can almost like more than 6 TB of storage you can have if you use it. And we also another dense storage instances. So you can see that this is also there, and you can see same like it is using this IV Haswell processors, E52676 version 3 processors. It has also support for SSDs. You can see that 3 into 2 TB, 6 into 2 TB, and 12 into 2 TB, and 24 into 2 TB. Like means 48, 50 TB of data you have the access. So this is how we can create these instances using these types, different types. You have like 4 core CPU, so then they see this all these things. So you can use this for use cases, like if you try to see the use cases, right, they will define every use case for where we need to use. If you are using for data warehousing like MapReduce, Hadoop distributing computing, you can go with this dense instances. You can see all the use cases like NoSQL databases like Cassandra, MongoDB, and you can go with this high2. So you can 3D application streaming, machine learning, video encoding, and all. You can go with this G2 instances. So these are all the use cases we can for high performance databases and distributed, like we have MySQL or MySQL databases which you want to use it, then you can go with this Hot 3 instance type. So see, you can get these, all this, get it. So these are all the instance types which is available at this point of time at the AWS level. So as I told you, they will try to introduce new features, new applications, new specifications, new instance types as well. So this is how you can do it. So you can see M3 model. So these are all the features and all. So these are all the instance types and specifications. You can see. So you can see all this listed here in the document as well. So either you can go with the just search with AWS instance types, you can get it. So this is what the instance type specifications and instance features. And we'll try to. And the next one is AMI. So now we'll try to see what is AMI and all. So but before going to the AMI and all, we'll try to see the dedicated host and dedicated instances. So in the virtualization topic, we have talked about virtualization types, bare metal hosting and as well as a virtualization, full hosting and the bare metal hosting. So bare metal hosting means like you'll have your all the like CPU, RAM, hard disk and network interfaces, and on top of it they will install AWS cloud will install this hypervisor. Let's call it as hypervisor like Citrix or maybe VMware ESXi, something like this, or maybe some Hyper-V or something like this. So these are all, they will install the hypervisor layer. On top of it, we'll create the virtual instances. This is what normal virtualization we talked about. But there is also another concept. So the concept is very similar. There is nothing difference here. So what we are doing is, let's say we have 4 instances. If and it's the same, like we'll have another same kind of setup. You'll have CPU, RAM, NIC, everything, and hypervisor here also, and they'll have some instances here, and something same thing like CPU, RAM, hard disk, and NIC, and same hypervisor level, and you'll have another, let's say 5 instances. This is, let's say you have a big CPU, RAM, hard disk, what NIC, then you have hypervisor, same like we have, let's say 3, 4, like this, 10 instances on this top of it. Let's say something like this. So we'll be covering the high availability, all these things in the charts in the next coming sections. As I told you, right, I've seen you here. You can just go through the course curriculum so that you can understand what are the topics we are covering in AWS. So we have a concept called ELB, elastic load balancing, where we'll configure the high availability, and also we have another concept called Route 53. So there also you can see fault tolerant and high availability across regions, and we'll try to create the applications across regions and as well as across availability zones. So we'll see all in the practicals coming sections. So we'll cover, as I told you, one by one. So that's it. We'll do it. So think like these are all the virtual machines. These were there. So if you create 5 instances, let's say 3 instances will came from here and 2 instances will came from here, like you will have the 5. It's not like you will have instances from the same hypervisor or same hardware machine. So this is what the virtualization works. If you, let's say 10, so we don't have 10 here, we will get 6 here or 4 here, something like that. You will have created any customer, something like this. So something like this, it will work. It will take the virtual machines from on top of this hypervisor and will use it. So that's how this normal normal cloud will work. But what is this dedicated host means? You can see here the picture. By seeing the picture you can understand. So you can allocate a host, means you can take back this, you can allocate yourself, dedicated to you, which is dedicated to you, means you can create the servers on a single host, so no one will have the instances on this host apart from you. So only you have, let's say you have dedicated this host to you, so only your instances will be created and launched in here. No one can have the permission to launch their instances on here, so which is dedicated to you. So dedicated host means, as seen in example, the host will be dedicated to you. You can create your my instance 1, 2, 3, and you can have an option to, you can create an instance. So dedicated full instance, dedicated instances will dedicated host. On the dedicated host you will create your instances, means no one can has any permission or access to this instance where they can create it. So then what is dedicated instance? So whatever we are talking about, right? So what we are creating here, those called the dedicated instances. So instances means, in this example we have seen a virtualization which has some 6 instances, 4 instances, 3 instances, and 4 instances here. Sometimes if you want to dedicated instance, or what it means, like you will have same CPU, RAM, hard disk, NIC. On top of you will have hypervisor, the same hypervisor. You can create a one instance here, only one instance here. So dedicated instance on a dedicated machine, but here no one will be able to do it. So the difference between dedicated host and dedicated instance means, where in dedicated instance you can only create one instance, where in dedicated host you can create multiple instances. Let's say CPU, RAM, let's think like this is CPU, RAM, you can hard disk, something like this, then hypervisor, then you can create multiple instances here. So this is dedicated host. The host is dedicated to you here, and the instance is dedicated to you here. This is what the difference between the dedicated host and dedicated instance. So that's how it. So basically, if you have any HIPAA compliance, or maybe if you're into RPI, remote patient intelligence, something like this. So yes, Charles, it's same like you what you're assuming. So if you're at that case, what you need to do is, you don't have any operating systems or any virtual machines on top of the or beside. So you don't want any tenants to be sit in your host or dedicated host, or maybe virtualization host. So in that case, if you're talking about the HIPAA compliance models and all the SOC models, security models, then what you can do is, you can go with the dedicated host and dedicated instances space. But again, you're taking it's a VM, Bharadwaj, everything is a virtual machine, it's not a physical server, but you are procuring a dedicated host where you will create the virtual machines on top of it. That's how it is. But as I told you, normal on-demand instances pricing will be differ. As you are doing the dedicated host and dedicated instances, the price will be higher than the on-demand or reserved instances where you normally using it, because we are using the multi-tenant model. Like on top of hardware you have hypervisor, on top of hypervisor you have 10 instances. Let's say AWS can create 10 instances, let's say. So 10 instances will not be, let's say we'll try to see the same example, NIC, RAM, hard disk, and NIC. So on top of it you will have the hypervisor. On top of it, let's say you have 10 instances, let's say 10 instances. If you create 4 instances, the first 4 will be assigned to you, this guy. And if I have another customer, he wants 2 instances, the 2 instances will be this guy. Another guy came 2 instances, this guy will be so 3 customers having their instances on a single host, but they have a 10. So this guy is tenant to this guy, and this guy is tenant to this guy, and this guy is tenant to this guy. So means you have tenants, means beside your instances there is another instance which is specific to a different customer. So that's what the normal virtualization or the creating instances will work in AWS, wherein if you take the dedicated host or dedicated instances, you don't have any tenants. You are the only one, you are the hero here. You don't have any instances which is relevant to other customers, are they other clients. So that's what the dedicated host and dedicated instances means. Now we'll try to see the concept of AMI, Amazon Machine Image. So we'll try to see if we can complete or not. Yeah, I think we can. See the documents and all. Okay, it will take some time, but okay, we'll try to see what is AMI and how to create, and then we'll continue the next section in the next week. So we'll try to see. So what is an AMI? AMI means the full form, the abbreviation of AMI is Amazon Machine Image. So the question you can see, when I launch an instance, right, what software will be installed on it? That is a question. Now you can see we are selecting the yes, everything is same Charles, but you are basically doing on a dedicated host. Everything is same, there is no change. If you are using dedicated instance is same, on-demand instance is same, or you are using dedicated host also, everything will be same. But you need to select while creating instance, saying that I want to use this as dedicated instance, or you need to say what I have to use this as I want to launch this instance on a specific instance on a dedicated host. That's you need to basically tell AWS to do this for this instance. That's how you need to do it. If you didn't tell anything, it will use the normal on-demand multi-tenant model as we discussed. If you specify a dedicated instance or dedicated host, then it will be launched on the particular request what you have chosen. So we'll try to see what is AMI. Now the question is, like, when I launch an instance, right? We are launching an instance. So what software will be installed on it? So the software or the operating system is taken from an Amazon machine image, means AMI. You select this AMI, the Amazon machine image, when you create your instance. 1 second, guys. So you will select the Amazon machine image AMI while you're choosing or launching the instance. So essentially what it contains is, it contains a file system and operating on top of an operating system and applications and all, and also it lives in S3. It's called simple storage service. We'll discuss what is S3 and all in the next sections. So basically AMI will sit in the S3 storage. So we'll discuss. So how do I get an AMI? So basically Amazon provides several generic ones like Amazon Linux, Fedora Linux, Windows servers, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux and all these things. You can also make your own as well. So these things. So how you can create or how you can choose all those things? If you just go here and okay, you are launching an instance here. Click launch, and here you are selecting choose an Amazon machine image or AMI. This is the section we are now talking about. Now what we are talking, we are choosing a Amazon machine image AMI. So we have Amazon Linux AMI. You can see Amazon Linux is EBS backed, AWS supported image. The default image includes AWS command line tools, Python, Ruby, Perl, and Java, and the repositories include like Docker, PHP, MySQL, Postgres, and other packages. These are all we have. This is the AMI. So you can see that AMI Linux, and you can see Red Hat Enterprise Linux and SUSE Linux, and means it has the operating system with the file system installed on it. If you take the same thing like Windows, it has the Windows operating system. Let's say if you take this Windows Microsoft Server 2008 R2 with SQL Server Web, means it has the, you can see Microsoft SQL Server 2008 R2 Web Edition is installed with NTFS file system is already installed on it. So which has a Microsoft operating system installed. So okay, that's fine. Now we upgrade. You can also see my AMI section. Now at this point of time I don't have any AMIs. So you can also search from AWS Marketplace. And you can see some community AMIs like Amazon Linux, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Gentoo. So these are all the normal, basically community operating systems, means open source operating system which you can use it for free. So these are all the other options, and also you can have an option to select the free tier AMIs only. As you and in yesterday's class we have seen, right? Only free tier eligible we can also choose. So basically AMI means Amazon machine image, means it has the operating system basically, and it has installed on it. So whatever the operating system we are choosing it, basically the operating system is installed on the particular machine. So whatever you are creating, you will create that operating system with the instance. So that's what the Amazon machine image is. So how we can basically create AMI from an existing. So we have seen that choosing an AMI, we have seen how to basically you can choose and all. So we'll try to create an image, let's say. So first, before creating the image, we'll try to launch a Windows instance here. Extra Windows Server 2008. I'm selecting T2 micro, and we'll go with our add storage, and we don't want any volumes. 30 GB is fine for us. So we'll say okay, AMI demo. Let's say we call it as AMI demo. The instance tag name. Security, we'll use the security group. Either we can create it or we can choose. We'll try to create a new group. We'll take the same like AMI demo. AMI demo. Let's call it a same like AMI demo. So that you can create a name and you can say RDP, and as well as we'll try to install IAS on this one for our testing purpose. We'll try to see open the anywhere 80 port. So I'm just review and launch. Click on launch. We'll try to see. Okay, we'll try to select Linux. Let's say we'll try to say it has been VM. Then we'll click on launch instance. So how basically differentiate between here is like, so AMI will be here like this. AMI is like here. It's like a virtual appliance which has operating system and installed on top of it. So when you create your instance, right, it will take this image. So it's basically it's an image. It's an image. From this image, it will copy this image to the instance and it will launch a server from it. So AMI is a backup of your, so basically backup image of your server. So it has installed operating system, all the applications and it, so everything can be do it. So from that, when you choose this AMI means what are the operating system it has and what are the data it has, from that you will have the instance is creating. So that's what the difference. Basically AMI is a backup image. It's a backup image, that's it. Where an instance is the live instance which is running. So you can call it as a backup image, the snapshot. It's not snapshot. Snapshot is a different thing, but you can take it as a backup image of it, an actual image of a server. So when you use that image to create a server, you will create a server from the image. So now what we'll do, we'll try to view instances. So it is running. You'll try to try to get Windows password. Get Windows password. Okay, it says that password not available yet. Please wait at least 4 minutes after launching an instance. So it will take some time to create the password, default password for us. So after 4 minutes, we'll try to access so that you will get the password. You can see in the documentation, you can see here, basically a template for the root volume. Here you can see in the here you can see the it's a backup image of your operating system, and you can register. Then you will say it as it's an AMI. Then from AMI either you can launch and it will create an instance, or you can copy it to other regions and all. We'll see how to copy and all. But before we'll try to create an image AMI. We'll try to create a backup of it. It's still in time. It's getting some time. We'll try to see will it create the password for us. Okay, the password is available now. We'll try to browse that key, Windows key. So we'll try to see the power. So okay, Windows PIM. This is what I used when. That's what it's saying. Good.
Internet connecting, huh?
Okay. Okay, guys. Sorry for the disturbance. And you can see decrypt the password. And you can see this is what the IP address. You can either use this one, or maybe with the IP address here also you can use it. Same thing. We'll try to connect to now here. We'll copy it and we'll try to mstsc the command that you can use it to connect mstsc, and we'll try to see, and the default username is administrator, and you can see the password is here. This was the default password generator. You can also change it. So you can then access it by saying okay, confirm to access this. It will take some time to create that instance. Try to see. We'll try to copy this, so make this password. We'll store this password, and the username is administrator. Okay, administrator, and the password is this. So we'll save this password. The default password is fine for us. We don't want to create anything. So it's taking some time. It's configuring it. So we'll wait for the desktop will come till the time. So once it is come, we'll try to install some IAS service on top of it. We'll try to configure a website, a default website, HTML website. and we'll try to take that image and we'll try to create a new instance from that image. So we'll see all these things in a couple of minutes. Just hold on guys so that you can understand what I'm trying to show you. Okay, it has came up. Now we'll try to install the operating system. We'll go to the server manager. Okay, we'll try to add roles and features. It's collecting inventory data. We'll wait for some more time. And you can see here, this is what the IP is. So try to copy and we'll try to copy it and we'll try to open. We're able to access, and now you can see we are not able to access because we don't have any IIS or anything installed here. Okay, it has. We'll do next. So what I am basically role-based feature. Okay, and we can install. Okay, web server. I'm installing the web server now. Add feature. And next, click on next, and you can see that. Do you need? No, I don't need anything .NET kind of thing. I'm not installing any .NET application here. So I'm installing. So what I'm doing is I'm basically installing an IIS web server on this particular instance. So we'll use so that we didn't have an access. You can see that we are not able to work. So we'll try to open a slice maker. So what is this website is all about means we have some HTML templates which we can use it for our. So these are all the different. So you can see if you want this or this, basically you can do. So if you can download this, means you can have this website is for you. So it's all free. If you want, you can also create, guys. It's nothing much. You can also download any of these things. So you can. This will try to go with this. Okay, we'll try to download this page, this HTML site, and we'll try to import it onto the web server once it is created. Now it's trying to installing it. So we'll download this page. Okay, you can see that it's started downloading. Metro style web page template it is. Yeah, we can also use these templates for Linux or any operating system because it's basically HTML templates. We can use it for Linux or Windows, anything. We'll try to use these slice maker templates, so where we can use it for free, so we don't need to create any websites. So we can use these templates to create high availability, practice high availability, and all those things. So we'll use most of the in the classes too, and also we'll also create two-tier applications like a web and a DB, and we can also create some three-tier applications as well in the last sections where we'll have web server, application server, and as well as the DB server. We can also see all these things. So we'll try to see now. So till this installation, we'll try to copy. Now we'll try to copy this page, this downloaded to here. So basically here I'm selecting this and Control C and Control V. So just you can paste it here, and you can see it's copying it. And now we have copied here, and we'll see is it done or not. And it's taking some time. No, installation succeeded. So you can see that installation has been succeeded. Now just close. Click on close. Now we have installed the IIS web server. Now we'll go to the folders and see you have inetpub here, which is when you install you will have this folder created in Windows, and this is the www root. This is what the normal. If you open this web server with IP address here, okay, the same IP address what we are using here, the IP address here, or you can use this public DNS also. Which one you can use it? You can use it. Either you can use this DNS name or the public IP. Both will be the same. It is result of the same. So this is the basically the Windows IIS home page. This is what it is. So, but I will delete this because I don't need this IIS default web page. So I want to use this, okay, this Metro web style uh, template which we are doing it. So we'll try. I copied it and try to extract. It's a basically a zip file. So that's what I'm. So I don't want to do it on a separate folder. I'm just trying to do it on a root the same way and extract. Now you can see that it has created and it has a files. So we'll try to delete this. I don't need. So from here, what I will paste it in. So basically what I am doing is I will basically extracted all the files in the inet pub www root folder. So this is what the this zip file contains. So basically I have extracted all these things, like it has all these folders. So now we'll try to. So previously it was there because these are the default uh, page for the IIS. Now we'll try to refresh here because we have added some static HTML template. Now you can see that now we have set up a website on a Windows machine with IIS installed. So now what we'll do, you can see that if you can refresh and if you try to see with the same IP addresses also, the same thing will come because it is mapped to the same IP. So we'll try to see if you try to browse it with IP address also, the same thing will come, the same thing. So now we have installed and do it. Now what we'll do is, so we'll close this, we'll close it, and now we'll see how to create an image and how to launch an image from the how to launch an instance from the image. So just select the instance what you want to do it, go to the actions. There is an option for creating an image means the AMI. So just create image, click on create image, specify name, so demo AMI. So that's what we are specifying. The same thing, add some description as well, demo AMI, and no reboot. If you select this, no reboot means it will not reboot the machine, but it's mandatory, it's not mandatory, but it is best practice to reboot the machine while taking the image backup, because if you're it's a running instance or a running server, means the data will be flown like reads and writes going. If you're taking, while reads and writes going, means what will happen, you will have some consistency, data integrity or data consistency issues. So the full data which is available on the server will not be taken from the image backup. So it's better to reboot. So don't select reboot anytime. So if it's mandatory that you don't want, it's a very critical server, mission critical server, you don't want to basically do it, so that you can click and you can option have no reboot also, but make sure you don't have any. If you do it, you might, it's not 100% sure that you will get some data integrity issues, but it may create some issues. Normally it will not create, but AWS recommends reboot while taking the image. So that's why you click on create image. So what we have did is we have just added some image name and the description. That's what we did. So nothing we have did it, just click on create image. Now you can see that you can click on here, or if you can click on here, it will take you to the page where it is creating the image. You can see that it is creating, the status is pending. So it will take some time to create. Or also if you can directly go to the under images, if you take the AMIs, you can also see the image AMI which is creating. So it will take some time, guys. So now we are taking this instance AMI, means the image backup of this machine. So we are taking an image means, so whatever the data, operating system, everything was there in the particular instance will take the backup as an image. Means we have it is an operating system, Windows operating system, and we have configured IIS and we have uploaded a static website. So all things will be taken back as an AMI here, means the image backup here. So that's what we will see. It's still in the pending, guys, so make sure. So we are still in pending. So It will take some time, so we'll wait. So till the time we can't do it anything, so we'll try to make sure. Still trying. So it's taking time, guys. No, as I told you, it will be stored in the S3 Charles. It will be stored in the S3. Sorry, Mth. It is stored in S3. So simple storage service. It will be chargeable. It's not free. It is chargeable, but as I told you, we have a 5 GB of space is free for us, so you can use for free. So you can basically with normally you can use 5 GB, but apart from that you will not be use it. But what we'll do is in the free time we'll try to create an image, and then after creating that image, then we'll create instance, then we'll delete it. So we don't want to get into much financial issues, or we don't want to pay for AWS for just creating and deleting. So that's how it is. So it is taking some time. Yeah, it is now. You can see that it is available. Now what we'll do is we'll go to the instances tab and we'll delete this instance which we have created. Now we'll try to terminate it, instance state, and terminate this instance. We don't need instance. So before terminating instance, you should make the username and password, guys. That's for sure. So you can see here we have taken the username and the password from this instance. So make sure you take, because I will tell you why should we need to take the username and password. So I'm shutting down here. So you can also use this for instead of using Windows, you can also configure with Linux as well. Just create an Linux instance and create install HTTP package. So if you install HTTP package on Linux, if you take CentOS, Red Hat, or SUSE Linux, the document root is in Windows we have under C we have inetpub. Under inetpub we have www root folder. So wherein in Linux we have var www html. So that's how it is. So Ajay, it's not like we are creating the image on the Windows instance. No, we are just taking the image and putting in somewhere. That's called then S3, the storage. So what it means, like, is here this is a Windows instance which we have created, and we have installed IIS on it, and we have created some HTML page. When you take the AMI, means image backup, you're taking all the backup and put it in S3. Let's think like it's a big hard disk. Think like a big hard disk. But have some also 100 TB of space. Think like it. So we are basically thinking the backup and putting in here. It's not like you are creating the backup and creating the image and putting in here. So it's not like we are creating all the uh, image, means how many drives you have. You might have C drive, you might have D drive, and you might have E drive. So for us, we are only having C drive. So when if you create only, it will take the what are the data it's there in here. So if you have the instance with C drive, D drive, and E drive, it will take all the drives in a image backup. So once you create the you'll say you create this image. Let's think like this is an image. It's not look like an image, but think like an image. So when you create an image, it will have all the data whatever we have in this particular instance. So we'll try to see here. Still shutting down. It's taking some time. One second, guys. If you shut down any server through MSTC login, then how can we again start the servers? If you shut down the server, if you come to the here, guys, if you come here, and you can see that the instance state will be in the stop state. You can click on here and just go to the instance actions and state start it. Just start it, you will be started. That's how we can do it. It's taking some time. Just 1 second, guys. Uh, S3 will not corrupt or will not do anything, Ajay. So we'll discuss the S3 features when we come into the S3 section. So S3 will not corrupt or something like that, or will not last. So that will not be happen. No, it's not calculated as instance, Charles. Basically, what we are doing, we are creating an image. We're basically creating an image of the server. That's what means backup of a server. What we are doing it is, it's not like instance. It's not like it's calculated as a storage, not like an instance. So instance and AMI both are different. We are creating the image from the instance. So AMIs will be stored in S3, instances will be running in your hypervisor. So the instance features, the instance pricing is normally will continue. This will not affect with AMIs and all. So but wherein you are creating image and it will need some storage, then you will also be charged for the storage AMI as well. Yeah, same like point in time picture or point in time backup, Ajay. That's what you can understand. Can we have multiple images? Yes. It's up to you how many images you want to create, Charles. Then it's our still in stopping here. Yeah, it's terminated. Now it's terminated. Now the server is not available for us. You can see. Now we'll try to create an instance from the image which we have taken. Now click on launch instance and go to the my AMS section here. You can see my AMS. So previously we don't have. Yes, Himat. True. So you can see in my MIS previously we don't have anything, but now we have the demo AMI, which is Windows operating system, which we have taken the AMI. Now we are selecting that AMI which we have created. Now we are selecting the type. Okay, we'll go with the Tito Micro, which is in free tier. So we'll go with add storage and everything. You can see that 30 GB is there. You can tag instance, so you can see that AMI clone. Let's say we name it as AMI clone. So whatever the name you want to give it, you can give it. It's up to you. Basically you can identify being that. Select existing group. We'll select the existing security group which we have created. I think AMI demo. This is what. Now we click on review and launch. Click on launch. You can choose an existing key pair or create a new peer. We'll try to go with the. Yes, Vijayender, everything is AMI is chargeable because we are using the AMI storage. Basically, we are using the AWS storage. We'll click on launch. It will start creating it. We'll try to view instances. Now you can see that the AMI clone instance which we are doing creating is in the pending state. So it will take some time while creating. So it will take some time, guys. We'll wait for till the instance in the running stage. So it is now in the pending itself. Yeah, it's came in as running. Now we'll try to log in. So till now what we have did is to get the Windows password access credentials. What we have did is we have selected and we'll try to click on get Windows password. So it's taking some time. So we'll wait for some more time so that you can understand. So why I have taken that username and password also. Now you can see why I have taken that. We'll wait for some more time so that it will come that option as Windows password. Yes, I think we have waited enough time. We'll try to see is this come or not. Get Windows password. No, it's not yet came. So basically it's need 4 minutes. Okay, we'll try to see. We'll try to see again. Oh, it's again we need another. It's taking 4 minutes, exactly 4 minutes. We'll wait. It's taking. So basically we'll try to log in first. So it will take some time. So we'll taking that IP and MSTSC. So we are using this IP, whatever which is created from here. We'll try to access. And we are using the default administrator. So we'll try to use the password. This is the password which we are the old instance. So we'll try to use the same password because we have taken the image from that. And okay, we'll try to say okay. And it will take some time to prepare. Okay, it's came. Now we'll try to go to the folder that where we are copied our files. In inetpub www we have copied our files. You can see all the copies, all the data were there, and we'll try to access this machine through web. This IP we'll try to see, and we'll try to access. Okay, the site came up with the same as the old site, but it has a different IP 54.116.223, but is here 54.179. This is the previous IP. You can see reloaded. It will not come because we have deleted that instance. Now here we have just copied and created a new instance, and the data is still there, so it is not come. So now we'll try to do the get password. I think it should come now. Now we can get Windows password. Oh, yeah. Oh, you can see now the password is not available. It's saying this instance was launched from a custom AMI. Means we have created a custom AMI, and from that we have launched. So basically if you use any generic instances, and if you click on launch, you choose this CentOS, these instances which is provided by Amazon, which is provided by AWS. If you use these instances, so what will happen while creating the instance, AWS will create the password for the administrator user. But if you create instances from your created AMIs, means from your backups, then AWS will not create the default password. So you need to know the password of it before creating or terminating your existing instances. So that's why I make a note of the password, and you can see we have logged in, and we can see the data is there, and we can also able to access the site from with a different IP which is the MI clone. You can see we are also able to access. So what we have did is, now first we created an instance, Windows instance. We created a Windows instance. On top of it we have installed IIS, the web server, and on top of it we configure a HTML site, and we have taken the AMI of it. AMI. So with AMI it consists of all the things like Windows operating system, IIS web server which we have installed, and HTML files which we have copied, and we have taken the image. So from this AMI we have terminated this instance, and from this AMI we have created again instance. So at this time whatever the data is there in this AMI, like the operating system, IIS web service, and HTML, so everything created from the instance and which is available. So this is what the this is how basically you can creating the images, and how you can launch the instances from the created images AMIs. So Yes, Ajay, it will again, if the instance is 30 GB, then the whole AMI is also take the 30 GB of storage in S3. That's true. So this is the class for today, guys. Now the remaining class in the AMIs we have just seen how to create an AMI and how to start an instance from AMI. We'll try to see how basically we can copy it, and we can copy the AMIs from one region to other region. So we can also see this in the next session on next Saturday 9 o'clock in the AM in the morning. We'll try to see how we can basically copy the instances, means copy the AMIs to other regions. Now what we have did, we'll try to see, we have seen that we have just created on Singapore region and we have created an instance. In the AMIs we have created this in Singapore region, and also we have created instances also in the Singapore region. Now we'll try to take the create an instance image in Singapore region. We'll try to, using that image, we'll try to configure on a different region. So we'll see how to do it and all in the next coming session on uh, coming Saturday's section at 9 o'clock. So this is today's class, guys. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and so that we can do it. So if you want, anybody want to speak with me, you can just raise your hands, and or if you have, you can also go with the chart. Can we apply AMI in the already running instance? No, Ajay, that will not be possible. You can, but you can delete the instance and you can recreate it. That's we can do it. You cannot apply something like this. Sure, Ajay, that's not a problem. So if you got any questions from the or previous sessions or today's session, at any time, at any point of time, you can ask the questions about any topic. It's not like when you have in some topic you should only ask the questions of that topic. It's not like this. You can ask any time any questions at any time of session. So we'll have, you can ask the questions, guys. Sure, Himmat, yes. So any other questions, guys, or you need some R&D and go through it? So as I told you, Charles, when you choose reserved instances, it will not create the instance basically. So what you are reserving the capacity, that's what it is, reserved instance means. So when you create the reserved instance, it will reserve the capacity for you. It will start charging based on the model which you have chosen. So if you create an instance with the same type, same operating system, same availability zone, then the instance pricing will not be on demand. It will directly on a reserved instance, sorry, reserved pricing, whatever you have chosen. It's like that. So it will not create the instance when you reserve, but you are reserving the capacity. So whenever you want to create that instance, you can create it as you have already reserved it and as you are already paying for it. So when you create an instance, as I told you, with the same three features, operating system, availability zone, and image, that will be the instance will, the pricing of the instance will be in the reserved instance pricing instead of the on-demand instance. That's how it will work. AMI is a backup, Mrudul. It's a backup, so backup will not run. So instances, servers will run in the right. Backups will not. Backups will be stored in some storage, like in S3 it will store. So what you can do is you can create what we have did is what we did in the previous example. We have taken AMI, and from that AMI we are creating a server. That's what we did. So there is no like running AMI or stopping AMI. AMIs is a backup of it, backup data, like how you're storing your movies or songs and all in the thumb drive. Will it play in the thumb drive? When you click on it also, when you click only, then it will play. The same way, like when basically you're storing it, that's what it is. So it's up to you basically. As I told you, the pricing is for 1 year and 3 years. If you want to basically try it for yourself, you reserved instances will not be under free tier. So if you choose and create it, as I told you, it will be cost effective. If you want to practice it, you can go ahead, but you need to pay to the AWS. That's for sure, Charles. So it's up to you. If you want to create it, if you want to create on your account, you can do it. But as I told you, you need to pay for it, AWS. That's how it is. So Mrudul, uh, I think as I told you, here what I did is I have deleted this instance because for understanding of how actually I am doing it. So you can also, you don't need to even delete this instance. So by running this instance also you can do it. So for better understanding, I have deleted it. So if you don't need to delete also, you just take that EMI, like if you can here like if you take that image, and from that image you can also recreate the image while this instance is running. So you can also create that. I think I understood your doubt now correctly, I think. Is it true, Rudal? Any other questions? So I think Himmat, I don't think they will miss any PDFs what I'm showing here. So you just check with them. I don't need to check anyone with them, because you just check with them. They say that what they, so maybe who you are, I don't know whom you are contacting from Collabora with you. Might be Raj, or I mean I don't know who is actually you are contacting. So I already spoke with Raj yesterday. He said that whatever the sessions are completing, right, they will try to upload it one by one. So they will upload. If you feel that something is missing and something is not there, you just ask the persons, the support team who actually you're contacting with. You just call them and ask. No, they will not assist from the payments and all, Charles. They will not do from creating resort instances or creating dedicated hosts. It's again, as I told you, it's cost effective. Not me or not Collabora. No one in the world will give you the chance to do it. I bet you on it. If no one will do, because no one will, pay the amount for you. No one will do that. Not me or not Collabora. No one will do it for you. If you want to practice, you can do it. So there is no account for Collabora. There is no account for me, guys. What are the same thing as I told you? Collabora will also not do it. They also not, give the account access or the account for charging and all. They will not give it to you. Yes. If you are storing both instance and AMI, so both will be charged, Himmat, both. uh, Satya, I think to have a test lab environment with less cost, can you give some idea how to go? Means yes, you can, as I told you, right, we can create T2 micro instances. You can run for 1 month. You can, if you want to run for 2 instances, we can run for 15 days. If you run 4 instances, you can go with 4 instances for 7 days, so that we can do it. So we'll try to create those things, like 2 instances, 3 instances in for some demo. In the coming section, we'll try to see how basically we can create a two-tier application across availability zone and as well as across uh, regions. So we'll see all these things. So how I come to know that how much consumed from 750 hours, you will not have that how many hours and all. As I told you, you can create some alert saying that if you cross 750 hours, so basically you need to analyze yourself how much time you have used and how much time you are not used. Basically the best way is to create servers, practice for yourself. Once done the practicing, then delete it, maybe terminate it. That's how you can do it. So you have an idea how much time you have used and how much time you are running the instances. Yes, Ajay, will see all the alerting part and everything. That is in the IAM section. IAM section, we'll see all these things in the coming section. You can see all these things in the coming section. Any other questions, guys? Uh, no, we are actually not using dedicated host. In my experiences anywhere, we are only using this normal instances only, the tenancy instances, not the dedicated instances. So we didn't have any guys who are actually into dedicated instances, as it is priced more than the normal instances. So we are not using dedicated instances anywhere, Charles. So we are normally using the normal instances only, not the dedicated one. In my 7 years experience also, I am using the same normal instances only, not the dedicated one. As I told you, right, the dedicated one only when you think about the HIPAA compliance model and all those things, wherein, if you want to do some certifications, ISO certifications or HIPAA client certifications or PCI model. So if you are going that way, then the recommendation is to have the dedicated host. Means you should not have any tenant virtual machines from other guys or other customers. That is how. So in that case, we'll go with the dedicated host. But I'm not working with any HIPAA compliance model guys or something, so I have not experienced any dedicated. But we are using the reserved instances because we have to lower the cost, so we are using it. I will show you in the next section. So I will try to show you my company's AWS account, my working company's AWS account, where I can show you where I have created some reserved instances and all those things. We'll try to see in the next section. Okay guys, any other questions? If you don't have, then we can complete the session for tomorrow. Ajay, uh, Charles will treat. I will try to give the real-time example only. We'll try to configure the websites and all with the databases and everything. We'll try to use the real-time examples only, not the normal examples. We'll try to do it. So we are going to cover development as well as admin, Ajay. We'll cover both the things. So it's up to you which one you want to choose. We'll try to see some developing codes, using development, how we can, coding, how we can launch instances and all. We'll also do that, and also we'll do this administration as well. So we'll do both the things. So it's up to you which one you want to choose and which one you want to not use. It's up to you. We'll cover both admin and as well as developer. Both the things we'll cover. It will work on Linux and both Windows. It work on everything. Rahul, it work on both Linux as well as in Windows. Everything. It will work on everything. Any other questions, guys? Okay, guys. Chalo then. Bye for today. We'll meet on next Saturday 9 a.m. in the morning. So I hope you guys play around with create instancing and creating backups, AMIs and all. So you no, Rahul, it's not necessary. As I told you, right? If you are going with HIPAA compliance or remote patient intelligence applications, then as per their certification, that is recommended to use the dedicated host. It's not really. Basically, it's a requirement. If you want to use, you can use it. If you don't want, you don't need to use it. It's a requirement of your client or maybe your organization. It's not the requirement of AWS or something else. Okay, guys. Chalo then. Thanks for today's class. We'll meet you on next Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. I'm closing the session for today. So you can have any questions. Be ready with the questions. Make a note of it. So you can ask in the next session as well. As I told you. Bye, guys.